Go.
Ring, ring, ring. Hello, please, and welcome back to Krown's magical derp cave.
Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a glorious Monday today because we have an all fucking new, as my voice cracks like a 15-year-old, app over here, which we have some of the best information. I do believe that is available for motherfucking the price of free. That means $0.00, and we actually even have more coming at it soon enough too. But with that said, there is a whole Oh my god, there is a whole fucking video that I'm going to have to do on this. But by the way, if you're confused as to why you do not have the new version of the app, if you are using the app, all you have to do is clear your cache, clear your cookies, whatever the fuck those things are, and then it'll come up with the new screens over here, and you're going to see all sorts of new quant data, which we'll be talking about a little bit today, but I want to kind of save the bulk of it, like the very deep analysis on it, for actually a standalone video on its own, because it is, as you can see, I mean, well, as you'll see, it's going to be pretty damn telling. Anyways, with that said, oh fucking baby, what's up, Nimbo? I see you over there. What's up, Brian Davis? Good morning to everyone, and I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest, because I didn't do that just yet, and it is free to do, so why the hell not? And what do we see as far as the dashboard goes that we haven't seen since yesterday? Well, fear and greed index is still stuck at the 22, as Bitcoin actually does put in a bit of a higher low on the 12-hour time frame, and more or less reclaims the short-term, medium-term time frame range, fulfilling our targets to the upside from yesterday's video at around $34,500 to $35,000. I do believe that we actually did hit in this early morning session. And I did read a very interesting comment earlier in this video today. Actually, I want to pull it up right now. I don't want to pick on this person, but I do want to point this out. Who the hell was this? Hold on. Where is it? I need to see this. Oh dear Lord, where the fuck has it gone? I think I've lost it, man. But someone was saying that they have a short position on right now that they absolutely need to dump because it is going to make or break their life. And understand, well, I actually do think that there is a decent chance that Bitcoin does turn sour over time and does even head less than $30,000. Probably not from here. And can you withstand a $10,000 rally to the upside from this price point? Now, I'm not saying that's destined to happen, but can it happen? Yes, absolutely. And I would still be looking for upside before further potential downside on the other side. Anyways, with that said, Bitcoin dominance heading up. This is a good sign right here that we are getting ready for a major move. Bitcoin is trending, and whether Bitcoin trends the upside or the downside versus US dollar, it is going to soak up the altcoins. And I look at this as a general reset for the market, which is a generally good thing. Oh, baby, what's up, Mr. Josh? I see you over there. I see you, my friend. Good to have you back in. And top of the morning to you, as I do believe that you are Irish. I don't want to dox you too much, but 40.5% is going to be actually the highest level that we have seen in more than a few months right now. So I do still like this, and I look at this again as a metric as resetting the market. I want to see this get up above 50% before I look for potentially another pivot on the market from that perspective. So altcoin Bitcoin pairings going to be bleeding it out, as you should expect, whether Bitcoin is trending to the upside or the downside. So it is time to be focused more or less on Bitcoin, in my opinion. However, there's going to be a few alts, one-off here and there that are going to be doing their own thing, of course, as always. But for the majority, no, they're going to be losing versus Bitcoin value, regardless of whether Bitcoin goes to the upside or the downside. You also notice over here, we got perpetual globals. This is actually going to be a live data feed. Nicely done, Mr. Morenfall. And we do have market movers actually added in a few new exchanges. And what I do want to say now is that you are going to be looking at, or you're probably looking at the open interest right here, and you're going to say 4.23 billion is on the books right now. Isn't that significantly less than what we did see just yesterday before this new version of the app? Yes, absolutely. But this change that we made has made it so that we only include 100% verified exchanges from crypto quant data. That means that all of the data that you see on over here is 100% fucking verified. There's no question marks about it, and this is going to be the best way to be looking at it from now on. And we can, well, once we get in the actual market data tab, we can actually even zoom into the price action chart, or sorry, not the price action chart, but the chart itself, and we can also move it around. But as you can see, it has been more or less steady. We have been picking up a little bit off the lows, but still, until we see like a leg up to the tune of $1 billion or more, I really would not say that this is going to be a conclusive move outside of the greater range, that is. So we're still more or less ranging as far as the medium-term timeframes go, or sorry, the higher-term timeframes go. Short-term, medium-term timeframes are trending right now and actually do look rather interesting. Anyways, top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins, bunch of shit coins on both sides. No, on the top 10 awareness list, we got Internet Computer going up 45.5%. Now, I do not know what the hell that thing it is, but it has a very interesting name, and I do see that it's getting absolutely torn to shreds on Twitter, on crypto Twitter, that is. And we do see that Celsius, Siacoin, Phantom, Decred, a bunch of 2017, 2018 shitcoins actually rounding out this list right here. Even Ethereum actually having a decent day, and Bitcoin probably should. I actually would have imagined that Bitcoin would have been on that list too. Losers list, we got Cello, Quant, Neo, Theta Fuel, Qtum, Waves, Dash is right on that list again. Actually, it looks like everyone had more or less a decent day except for Cello right there. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. This is where all the fun stuff is going to be today. You also notice a couple other tabs over here, the events and news, which, well, I'll save that for another video perhaps. Anyways, first and foremost, we do have, oh fuck, you can't actually see it on my screen. because my little logo right there is covering it up. Let me actually show you for a second. Yes, we have 1, 2, 3 pages of data, which you can now look at. This is coming straight from CryptoQuant. This is going to be updated on a daily basis. At some point, we will offer this on an hourly updated basis as well, but we will probably have to have like an actual subscription model for that, because then the costs are going to get like a little bit potentially unmanageable. But for right now, we can definitely offer this this data on a daily basis for free, which we're extremely proud to be doing. And let me just throw this back on right here so we can get rid of that. And you can see that we do have metrics for the global funding rate, the global leverage ratio, the liquidations between longs and shorts, open interest, of course, as we just looked at before, Bitcoin reserves, exchange net flows, and you're going to see another couple pages of full-on data like this. And yes, we do have more. We're also going to have options data as well soon enough. Holy fucking shit, man. I'm so goddamn proud of this. Anyways, we can see right on over here the global funding rates, which I've been putting a lot of weight on recently, suggesting that, hey, while Bitcoin is, you know, testing around the bottom side of the range, we probably aren't going to break just yet. And as you can see right here, we have seen the global funding rate actually trend ever since I think it was like, early June to the downside, meaning that you are getting paid to hold your longs. And actually now it's like a decent amount too. As you can see right on over here, it's a global negative rate of negative 0.036%. So again, we really don't see it, you know, get too aggressive to the downside there. And that's what in like the throes of a very hefty downside and prolonged move, which we don't necessarily have just yet. Right now, Bitcoin's more or less ranging. And so I would be looking at this as a good signal that Bitcoin, you know, while I do think there is a decent chance that it does break to the downside over time, it's probably not going to happen from here. We very likely rally first before that, and then perhaps, you know, maybe later this summer we actually do break down, if it is going to break down. But I would still harken back to the long-term analysis video that I did a week ago, which is still available for you in the long-term analysis playlist. That goes over all the scenarios for that, and realistically we haven't really set off anything just yet. So I do still look at this as more or less a trader's market, you know, aka ranging. It is not necessarily the most interesting from a long-term investor's perspective, I would say. Anyways, open interest over here, you can kind of see the same thing again on chart format, a lot easier to see within this venue. And again, all this data is 100% fucking verified with on-chain metrics. So I'm really happy to say that, because one of the biggest issues with cryptocurrency right now, just in general with analysis of the fundamentals and the underlying market dynamics, is that you just can't trust the data for the most part. That also means though that we're not going to have like the full kit and caboodle for it, meaning that not all exchanges are going to be on there, because we just can't verify them, unfortunately. But at least it'll be consistent as long as we are running this data right here. Anyways, global leverage ratio, I don't think that I have anything to say about that, but I do think it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. A lot of this data is new for me, so I do not have any major proclivities towards it just yet. I do want to keep an eye on the liquidations, both long and short right here. I think this is going to be a rather interesting metric. Of course, you can see on May 19th, May 20th, we did have just astronomical liquidations on both sides, which does suggest that a lot of that selling that we did see around the $30,000 level was forced. And if it's forced selling, people didn't really actually want to sell there. They were forced to sell there, by liquidation cascading events. And what does that imply? It implies that we probably at the very least range for a while before picking a real direction. On top of that, global exchange Bitcoin reserves. Oh man, this one's actually very interesting as well. I do not have anything to say about this just yet, but it is going to be one to watch. And the exchange exchange net flows over here too. Again, another one that I have to keep my eyes on, but I do not have anything to say about that just yet. Anyways, over here on the secondary page, we got all sorts of minor data over here too. We got the minor index, MVRV, NVM. We got realized cap, global stablecoin ratio. By the way, the realized cap is actually very sad. As you can see, the realized cap, by the way, and yes, we do have tooltips on this now too to tell you exactly what the fuck you're looking at. The stored value of Bitcoin calculated by summing up each Bitcoin at the price when it was last moved. That means most people paying a price that was somewhere in the mid 50s actually. So we do have a lot of overhead pressure on price action for a while now, I would say. Anyways, this one I'm not so much sure what I'll be making out of this over time, but I'm sure we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that as well. And I think we'll go to the third page and see what else we got. Global volume and fear and greed index also going to be charted out right here. Global volume is going to be very interesting, especially on those major events. You can see those do offer up good pivots on price action. Market cap and Bitcoin dominance, kind of just doing what we've been looking at for a long time now. And of course, the fear and greed index still accumulating fear as it does stand. So again, play around with this. It's going to be good fun. We do obviously have the events tab and the news tab over here. I'll go over all of this data once we have like the full version of the app that we really want to have, which we still have a few more things coming. Like I said, options data, portfolio tracking, and a few other things, a few other bells and whistles that we want to add to it. And then I'll do a full-on video dissecting the whole goddamn thing. And until then, enjoy. Again, it is 100% free. So let's get to the actual pricing charts themselves now. And let's start it off with the most fun analysis. For short-term timeframes, or actually, let's go over here. For short-term timeframes, we did identify yesterday that Bitcoin was very likely putting in a bit of a higher low on the 12-hour, and that did come to fruition. And we did say that a target naturally to about $34,000 would be initiated short-term, with very likely continuation around the highs of what we saw on 25th of June. Now, there is another continuation condition that we did tack on top of that, which is actually very, very close. In fact, actually, we did. Let me just double check. Did we fulfill it? Did we close above the 24th and open of 25th on the 12-hour? I believe we did actually. Yes, we did, just by a ball sack here right there. But ultimately, I would be looking for Bitcoin to trade a little bit sideways short term, and then very likely give another try to the upside around the more medium term time frame target, which is basically the same sort of level that we were looking at from last week actually, at about 36,000 to 36,500. Very likely another short term pullback somewhere around there, and then I would be looking for Bitcoin to test the top side of the range. Now, the top side of the range is where things get a little bit more tricky, because while I do think that Bitcoin still does have, a big threat of going to the downside, and when I say to the downside, I mean not just down to $30,000. I mean realistically low $20,000 territory. The same space that everyone's kind of looking at. Still very much available. First and foremost, I would be looking for some upside. And then if Bitcoin does get to the $39,000-ish area right here, which I'll mark off with this, which is also the 2-spot extension, funnily enough, from this little short form, consolidation right here, then I would be entertaining targets into the mid $40,000 territory. Again, the same sort of analysis that we've essentially been looking at for the past month and a half now, I do still think is very much relevant. Again, was covered in the long-term analysis video from a week ago, and I do express great concern in the mid and especially deep $40,000 territory. While I do think Bitcoin has some upside here, make no mistake about it, I'm not calling fucking a bull market on again. I'm not calling anything like that. There is no talks at all whatsoever about Bitcoin putting in a new all-time high or even just putting in a new macro uptrend until we get these three things that we've been speaking about for the last month and a half. What's the first one? Hash ribbon signal. Do we have a hash ribbon's blue buy signal? No, we do not. In fact, it's nowhere near. But there is a little bit of there is a little bit of good stuff coming in on that. Actually, fuck, I forgot to completely do that. We'll get to Bitcoin analysis right there. Okay, sorry. Else is gonna have a very difficult time with the timestamps today because I'm fucking up left, right, and center. Anyways, with that said, we do not have a blue buy signal anytime soon. However, we do have a difficulty adjustment coming in I believe about 4 or 5 days. So I would expect this to really converge on each other. These two moving averages right here, that is representing this indicator, probably within, I guess, like later this week. I guess that would kind of align with. So keep an eye on that, and then perhaps a bit around the midpoint of this month, of this coming month, July, we might actually see a potential for a blue buy signal within that vicinity if things are going to work out in that way. Again, until we have that condition set, there is no talk at all whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps other people would disagree with this out there, that Bitcoin has a macro low in and it will move on to prior all-time highs and beyond. On top of that, I want to see a daily uptrend, of which we still do not actually have a higher low in here, believe it or not. In fact, if anything, we did close pretty much on the same lows from 22nd of June to 25th of June right here, but it will have a chance, I do believe, on this current, on this current price action. Again, assuming that Bitcoin does take a leg up into the deeper $30,000 territory, then it's going to come back down, probably scare the shit out of people, put in a higher, or try for a higher low. I'd imagine somewhere around 35, maybe $36,000 on a daily time frame. If that happens, that would be the next sort of piece of information that I'm looking at. And I want to see the BBWP trend down, and it is trending down. So we identified that yesterday, which is really fucking good right here. But I want to see this come down all the way to the single digits before I entertain the possibility again of a macro low being in, similar to what we saw back and over here in March 2020. That would be a coronavirus dump time. Red lines out at 100 percentile. We've obviously already gotten that a couple times actually. If we do pull back this data right there, that was on May 19th and May 20th. And then we do see it come all the way down to actually about a zero read right there, basically just as close to a zero read as you can get. And then of course, the other time that we did see this happen to the downside was way the fuck back on over here in November 2018, December 2018. And that was to break from 6,000 to 3,000. Same thing, hits 100 percentile, comes all the way down to 5 percentile before putting in the macro move, the macro bottom in that case from 4,000 to $14,000. Pretty fucking nice information, or sorry, pretty fucking nice signatures right there, and I would be looking for those three things to happen together in order to get macro bullish on Bitcoin, essentially saying that Bitcoin very likely is going to, well, just make new all-time highs and maybe even continue on to some more of those crazy targets. But I'd still sincerely and seriously push back against a lot of the analysis that I see across the web saying that Bitcoin's going to get to like $250,000 this year or $500,000 this year. I think that that's very unlikely. Doesn't mean that it's not going to happen over time. I do believe in this asset over time. I do think it's a very interesting asset over time too. But within this year, I just don't understand why it needs to be this fucking year. We can, maybe like a 5-10 year horizon. That sounds a little more reasonable to me if you're going to be talking about like $500,000, $1 million. I would also assume that something drastically terrible happened within the world too for that to occur. Anyways, we should denote this. We did confirm the multiple drives of bullish divergence coming off that last low from yesterday. We did say it was a potential yesterday. We looked at the 12-hour closure for a potential front run of that signal. We got that, and now we see the signal come to fruition as well. Now we did get the easy part of this move pretty much already to the 21 exponential average right here, but popping back up to that level, so close to each other, going back to the 25th of June. Yeah, so it's just, it's the second time that's tested in the last few days. I look at this as very, 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 very likely to actually exceed that. And in this case, the next daily target, again, would be somewhere in the deeper not deeper 40s, but deeper $30,000 territory, between about somewhere around about $39,000. Short-term timeframes, again, do have a little bit of overhead resistance. Pretty much where we're at right now, which I do think that Bitcoin probably is like an hourly pullback from here. But ultimately, the next real level from a 4-hour time frame perspective is going to be about 36,500-ish region. And I'd be looking for a little bit of short-term, give and go around there as well. If we're looking at the hourly right here too, which actually I've been playing around with a lot more recently, and I probably switch around a lot of my views on the hourly and short-term timeframes because it actually has been really, really good to me as of recent times. In fact, I've actually been mostly trading the hourly the last week or so. I would be looking at this actually as already kind of fulfilling a little bit of that pullback narrative and very likely giving another test back up short-term to $35,000. So you know what? Now that I look at the hourly, is it possible that we already saw the pullback? Yes, I do think so. However, if things do want to pull back, I'd be looking at a base somewhere around yesterday's high side of the consolidation, right around like low $33,000. And I assume that Bitcoin does have a medium-term time frame low in, maybe even a daily low in as well, as long as we are above 32.5. That's going to be the critical area. So I do essentially have short-term, medium-term bullish biases here, as long as that condition is met. And we've been marking that area up and up as we kind of mature within this consolidation right here, right, where Bitcoin essentially came down to $30,000 over the weekend, but we said, hey, unless if we fulfill the one of the three conditions that I was looking for continuation, it's not the right time to be looking at an actual break to the downside. Until that happens, I would be hesitant to be trading major positions for a trending move into the deeper $20,000 territory, and perhaps it could even be that we never even go down there as well. It's definitely possible, but at this point right now, as a trader, you do have to entertain both sides of the trade, as we don't have we don't have anything that is conclusive just yet. And as we have been showing, especially on the bi-weekly MACD over here, there is a lot of how do I say this? There is a lot of concern, we'll say. Yeah, there's a lot of concern with any sort of a rally into the mid, maybe even deep $40,000 territory. Remember this signal right here, where we did see the biweekly MACD cross to the downside. That happened actually in middle of May, it looks like, or sorry, late May, that is. And anytime that we have seen the signal in the past, we've gotten some very, very similar signatures here. Same thing that we saw back on over in October 2019, right? Where Bitcoin's base, basically it had a nice consolidation at the high, broke down, based off the white 20 simple right here, bounced above the 9 exponential moving average, breaks that, or essentially puts in a bull trap right around there, comes down, bases on the 55, and eventually breaks lower over time. Now we have another example over here in 2018 as well, where Bitcoin, based on the 20 simple, we get the cross to the downside, bounces up into the 9 exponential moving average, then rejects, obviously bull trap, bases on the 55 for multiple months on end, and then eventually breaks lower as well. And then the only other iteration that we have before that is way the fuck back on over here in March 2014. Same thing, based on the 20 simple, bounces up above the 9, rejection, bull trap, whatever you want to call it, based on the 55 after that, and then eventually breaks lower. So realistically, what could that look like on this current price action? It could look like Bitcoin, again, your 9 exponential moving average is in your low 40s, so maybe somewhere in the mid 40s essentially. And if Bitcoin does put in anything resembling weakness around there, well, just any sort of rejection on a respectable time frame, then technically speaking, all three of those iterations have essentially come down to the 55 on the biweekly, and then, well, broken lower over time too. And where's the 55 right now? It's actually right around $24,000 or a little bit below $24,000. Should also be noted that if we are looking in the $40,000 territory, which again, the deeper $40,000 territory is not even a top of conversation as long as we're below basically about $39,000 on a daily, or as long as we're on a wick lower basis than what we saw on the 15th of June, which is 41,338 on BitMexico, then I would be looking at this right here, actually, which I believe I have on this chart. Do I have it on this chart? I think I do. Well, I did, but I guess I reset it. Anyways, yes. So I'd be looking at somewhere right around here, which is also going to be synonymous with your, of course, with your 618 Fibonacci retracement, as you can see. And this would be a bearish retracement right here too. And then we see the 0.5 right around 47. We see the 618 right around about 51. So anywhere within there, I would say, is your traditional sort of bull trap-ish zone if Bitcoin even gets there to begin with. So we're making a lot of assumptions here. I'm not saying that it's going to happen right now. I'm only really actually calling anything on the short-term timeframes, and I fucking hate the word call anyways. But realistically, above that last high that we saw, in middle of June, that's where I do start to look towards the deeper $40,000 territory. Anywhere around there is kind of like an area fraught with a bit of peril. But for right now, things do look good. Like I said, we do see that daily RSI for Caretaker did throw off another phantom bull div signal. I believe we also do see a potential jewel buy signal aligning on CME right here too. I'm going to see one more day pass, but if we get any sort of a positive slope on the blue oscillator right here, then that is going to be met with with cheers. I would say that would be a pretty damn good one. By the way, we're also changing around. I completely forgot to talk about this. We completely changed around the Jewel subscription service as well. It's no longer subscription, it's lifetime. And if you do want to obtain that, you can go check it out in the app and email our lovely customer service people, girls, support at crowntrading.net. We got Stephanie and Elsa at the helm, managing everything over there, and they'll take care of you. They'll explain the situation. But basically, if you've already been on the subscription service and you've essentially accounted for what we're going to put as a full price, then you're just going to get doctored in. Like, obviously, you're not going to fucking pay again. No shit. That would be ridiculous. So, we're going to be, obviously, our main disposition with anyone who's already in it is we want to make sure that, you're happy and everything. So just give us an email and we'll figure it out from there. But yes. Anyways, cool. Okay, so we spoke about that. Let's go see some other momentum oscillators and get a little bit more of a bias right here. We do see daily TSIs turning up. Remember, we also didn't just turn this up, but we also did break this long-term trend line right here too. Now, I really don't care about formations on price action, except for, the obvious ones that I find to work rather well, like triangles, head and shoulders, sometimes okay as well, and channels can be all right. But on indicators, I actually do find that they work a little bit better. And we do have a falling wedge right here, which typically does break the upside. And guess what? We actually have a perfect retest of it and back up. That would be good. And this is breaking the trend that we saw all the way back from January, by the way. January, which correlates with this high right here, this high right here, this high right here, this high right here, and this high right here. And now we have finally broken that. So I do look at that as a bit of a heads up signal that we actually have broken a bit of an early trend right there on the daily. And so that does give me a little bit more of a slight edge in the bullish buys for the daily continuation, probably to the deeper $30,000 territory. I would not feel comfortable calling a move into the 40,000s just yet. I want to go level by level at this point, because as a trader, I do think that it's just more wise to be safe rather than sorry and aggressive in this current area, especially when the ranges are pretty damn big anyway. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of meat on the bones. Fuck, I also forgot to mention this as well. Liquidity Zone has another issue coming out as well. And if you are interested in traditional market analysis and newsletter format, then that would be a damn good one to check out. We do have it obviously on the app as well, and you should also check them out on their YouTube channel, because they do. Yeah, that's right, they do. No, they do live analysis every day on the stock market. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out, because those are the guys who I go to for that. Right now. All right, cool. Okay, so we spoke about all of that. Is there anything else on this chart over here that we haven't already spoken about? Daily, we already spoke about this yesterday, but I want to reiterate it because this is actually a rather important point. If you're trading the Bollinger Bands, which actually, the more that I use the Bollinger Bands, the more that I like them actually, and you see something like this, works both to the upside and the downside, it's typically a very, very good signal. So the signal is this: when you see the Bollinger Bands start to expand a little bit after a little bit of a sideways consolidation, and you close a reversal-ish type dildo, in this case a massive hammer dildo right here inside the Bollinger Bands, again both to the upside or the downside. So in the upside case it's going to be like a shooting star, and then you come back down somewhat soon after that, and then just briefly test into it and then get bought back on up as the Bollinger Bands converge a little bit. Very good sign that you do have a nice daily low probably in. So in this case right here, I do think that works rather well. I'm going to try to find another example of this as well. We did have an example over here. Again, this one actually did end up being a really, really good buy point for a rally back up. And do we have an example to the downside? It actually works a lot better to the downside, funnily enough, but I actually don't see an example right here just yet. All right, cool. Anyways, is it time to get on the comments? Is it time to get on to the chats? No, I don't think so just yet. Let's see what Stokes are saying today. Again, we're just kind of going across all the major momentum oscillators that I typically look at. I also want to, again, reiterate that if you are watching these analysis videos, understand that this is analysis. This is not trading. As far as trading goes, man, I look at like at most three indicators. Look at some infrastructure trend, and then, of course, volatility, and then, of course, momentum oscillator. I don't look at fucking 50 momentum oscillators, and I felt the need to kind of reiterate that because a lot of the time I see what I call analysis paralysis get kind of stuck on people, and realize that, you know, when we're doing analysis on YouTube, it's more or less for like a bigger crowd, which everyone's kind of looking at different things. But in this case right here, you know, I actually haven't really been using Stokes too much in my own trading recently. I've actually been using RSI, funnily enough, a lot more. Anyways, looking at this right here, we do see daily momentum oscillators will stay to the upside as long as we're closing above 33,000 bucks. Looking good in that metric right there. 12-hour is 31.5. Good. I'm also curious what the 2-day did, because I believe we closed that one yesterday, or did we? Yes, we did, and it's actually a very good recovery right there. So I would say that any sort of a closure on the next 2-day dildo, which is not tonight, but it is going to be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, above 35,000 bucks. Extremely likely that we will see that move up to, you know, somewhere around 39, maybe 40,000 bucks, with potential for a move into the deeper 40s over time. 3-day, we already see this one twisting up as well. 32,850 is magical number right there. And actually, I really like this read as well. When you see a lot of kind of what's the word that I'm looking for? You know, crisscrossing action. Fuck, the snake action right here is what I typically refer to it as, where it kind of like crisscrosses around a lot of times, and then actually has a nice momentous close on confidence. Those typically are really good moves, and we do not see this one closing tonight, but there is a very obvious trade here on the 3-day that we pointed out yesterday. If we take out the last 3-day high, which guess where that is, 35,517 on stamp, or the low as well, then I would be looking for I'd be looking for general continuation up to the next major level. In this case, I do think it's a lot more likely to test the upside, and your natural target would actually be just below 40,000 bucks if that is to come to fruition. Again, on a 3-day, probably not happening like exactly today, but ultimately I do kind of like that. And then I believe the 5-day is not closing today, but also tomorrow night as well. And I really like this behavior right here. We see a lot of these wicks being accumulated below the $33,000 level. That is a good sign, at the very least for at the very least for now, I suppose you could say. And we do see that 5-day momentum also is going to turn up as long as we close above 34.3, which we're clean 150 bucks above right now. But another day and a half basically to go, so a lot can happen between there. But again, would look pretty damn good. And if you are looking at this indicator right here, I've actually put on a bunch of I've actually kind of modified the super guppy right here. It's kind of a fun indicator to look at, but I do like whenever I see a bunch of wicks accumulated either to the upside or the downside. In this case, we do see a bunch of these wicks accumulated right on the major precipice of this. And typically speaking, you're at least going to try towards the upside after that, around the top side of your range. And on the 5-day, that would be, basically your $39,000-$40,000 area at the very least. So I do think that Bitcoin is going to do that right here. Again, whether you're the biggest bull or bear, and then just like whether you're the biggest bull or bear, I do not think that Bitcoin's going to be getting past 50,000 bucks like anytime soon, to be quite clear. And when I say get past it, I mean like close a weekly above there. What I think is most likely to happen is we will still see a sideways market for most of summer. Is like best case for Bulas. Best case for Bulas, in my opinion, is just sideways above 30,000 bucks, which we have done thus far, or Bitcoin has done thus far. Basically, could come with a move into the deeper $40,000 territory, no problem. But I'd ultimately be looking for that one to come back down again, assuming that we do not see the 3 conditions that we laid out earlier for a macro low being set in place. Until those 3 are present, I always will entertain the downside within the context of this current price action right here. What else did I want to talk about? Of course, downside continuation, we probably should outlay this as well, although I think it's a little bit less likely today. But 4-hour closure below 30,300, daily closure below 30,800, or a weekly closure below 32,500. And we got none of those in the last 24 hours, so we get to survive for another week at the very least, and fair enough. So Bitcoin Bula is pulling through here, and I think that now would be a good time to get into perhaps a little bit of comments. So let me pull up what Elsa has over here. I'm going to turn on the alert system over here too, and let's see what we got going on right now. Okay, sweet. Hey, what's up, Josh? There he is. Yo, bro. Good to see you, man. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's not... what the fuck? Sir, you don't... Elsa, I've asked this for the nights with no reply. Sir, I mean, we can only reply to so many comments in a single stream, sir. Say what? Oh, well, then put it at the end then. Anyways, it's a pretty easy question anyways. He says, do you suggest trading crypto futures over spot trading? Seems all the professionals trade futures. Am I missing out? Well, first ask yourself, are you professional, and what do you want to do? Backwards engineer it. You don't need to trade futures if you don't if that's not the right thing to be doing. If you want to be a more active trader and you need to be able to hedge yourself, well, then yes, absolutely, you have to use futures because you can't fucking short on spot. You'd have to. I mean, the best that you can do is like perpetual futures, which are still futures. So by definition, you wouldn't be able to do that. Anyways, your question, however, is lacking context. So I can't say exactly for you, but look, man, if you want to trade a downside market, I think it's going to be pretty fucking difficult to do with only buying spots. So take that as you will. I don't know if that's what you want to do or not. I don't know if you are a professional trader. I don't know if you have like another, job or, love in life or whatever the fuck, it might be. But that I can only kind of give you some conditions to be looking at. I don't really know where to go with that other than, to go. I don't really know where to go with that question other than that. So again, it might be relevant to you, might not be relevant to you. You have to make that decision for yourself. If you need to be able to trade the downside, yeah, you probably have to trade futures at the very least, preferably options, to be honest with you. Gray Fox says, I made another margin account and I'm in the middle of the biggest short. Oh, this is it. This is him, Gray Fox. Okay. Gray Fox says, I made another margin account and I'm in the middle of the biggest short of my life! ! My wife might be back to her boyfriend and I might go back to make danks. Okay, I don't know if this is a serious comment or not, but if that is true, you really should be asking yourself, while you might be right on the actual direction of this trade over time, are you going to be able to survive an upside move here? Because right now, I do think that Bitcoin is postured for an upside move. As we said yesterday and the day prior, it's very difficult to get bearish from this exact point right here. Again, if I'm going to be bearish, it's probably going to come after a failed a failed rally, which turns into a bull trap somewhere in like the mid, maybe deep $40,000 territory. So if you can survive like a $10,000 move to the upside, maybe even more, maybe even $1,500, $15,000, then perhaps that's okay, but you got to be asking yourself, okay, why would I short here if I can short higher? That's the way that I'd be thinking in this case. Again, I don't know if this is like, a legitimate comment or not, but I would also suggest, as I believe Mimi's that butter my biscuit said to you as well, if you are in a trade that you yourself have said will either make or break you, that is not a... Okay, you really do sound like a hyena. Now I get where that's coming from. Hey, sir, what the fuck did you... God damn it. Elsa's throwing shit at me. She just threw Hello Kitty at me. Anyways, so what did he say? Basically, if you are in a trade that's going to make or break your life, you shouldn't be in that trade. No offense. The reason why is because, look, at the end of the day, there is going to be a non-zero probability that you are going to be wrong in that trade. And that means that you could quite literally break your life. And it's very, very difficult to come back from zero. You can always come back, after a bit of a loss, assuming that it is like a calculated loss. But to literally let things go to potentially zero is extremely difficult to come back from. And very few people are able to do it. So that's perhaps something to consider. And hope, and I actually do pray for you. Like, I sincerely mean that, if assuming that your comment is legitimate to begin with, but I do hope that things work out for you. I'd just be a little bit scared, to be honest with you. All right, cool. Okay, let's see what else we got in over here. We got Josh. Okay, 2013 versus now, weekly on Fibs, don't forget. All right, here we go. Yeah, so Josh sent this to me the other day. In fact, I'm actually going to just pull up his chart himself. And this would be a very, very hilarious thing right now. Let me just open up the originals right here. Okay, actually, maybe that's not going to work too hot. Yeah, that doesn't work too hot. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to clone this. I'm going to clone it. Yep, there we go. Let's duplicate that. Oh, motherfucker. I have to log back into Discord too just to get that. That is ridiculous. All right, well, I'll just do it this way. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to bring this into the visual view. There we go. Okay, so this is what Josh sent me the other day. And he was basically making a corollary between the double bubble that we saw in 2013, 2014 to what we're seeing right now. Keep an eye on what we're doing right here. Keep an eye on what we're doing right here. Okay, so a lot of people think, if I go back to my regular charts over here, that if Bitcoin is going to, pick itself up by its bootstraps and march on to new all-time highs, that we're going to get a double bubble similar to what we saw back on over in 2013 and 2014 like this, where Bitcoin puts in a mega massive rally, bases off, and then puts in another blow off top, and then really comes down for the next year and a half, kind of resolving itself. Now, Josh has actually found something relatively similar as well. And the funny thing about this is that the double bubble, this would be your second bubble right here. And now let me show you. And this actually does have some merit to it. So first and foremost, look at 2013 right here. Look at the fib. So you can see that we did top out that 4.236. And we did also see that there are two major lows right here. The first one in July of 2013, and then this next one right here before the melt up move. That's very interesting, right? That's very, 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 very interesting, because if we do the same thing for the 2018 cycle right here, what do we see? We see price action right around the top side of that 4 spot, something rather, what the fuck is it called? Extension. And then we also do see some very similar price action to what we saw in 2013 as well. Big bottom right here, quick bottom right here, melt up. I think that is actually honestly very, very interesting. If we even compare this from a percentage gain perspective, I do believe from prior closing high to next closing high, yeah, we did have about a 500% move to the upside. You already know that's exactly what we have for this rally right here too. So I'll take this one step further. Actually, no, we don't. Oh, sorry, no, we do not on a closing basis. It's actually about 200%. I was actually thinking from back around $10,000. So actually, I'm going to be wrong about that. But ultimately, I do think that it has a little bit of merit, and it kind of does play into the idea that long term, as this asset does mature, these fuck, is the stream dead? The stream dead? No, god damn it, Elsa broke it. Motherfucker. Okay, I think we're reconnected. Don't ever fucking throw shit at me again. God damn it. I think you did break it actually. Okay, we're back on. Okay. Thank the Lord right there. Dear Lord. Okay, that was almost very, very bad. Okay, we are back. Now, let me know where we left off right there. Long term over. Let me know where we are, or did we get that? Okay, the finish finished it. She did. The second Tim. Elsa just ruining everything as usual. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we are back. That's good. But I want to know, where did we get within that analysis? Did we see both these charts from Josh over here? Because I actually thought that was extremely interesting. Tears crying. So this would be probably the biggest bearish, the biggest and most bearish analysis that I could do, that could be added on to the long-term analysis that we spoke about a couple days, or I guess a week ago actually. Again, it would be essentially looking at the 2013-2014 double bubble as what we're doing right now, with 2018 being that 2013 portion of the first bubble before your second bubble, which we saw or presumably would be in about 2021. Yes, okay, so we saw one of them. Okay, so this would be the second one right here. Again, going back into it, we do see this sort of slew of very aggressive higher lows within kind of like an ascending triangle formation right here too. You can see this right here, December 2018. You can see this right here, June 2013. Your higher low right here, boom, higher low right here, melt up. Same sort of thing. And then your actual top and year and a half long bear market before an actual reversal. Could it be the same thing over here as well? Would it be relevant to be thinking like that? Perhaps yes. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't just blindly say that's destined to happen, but it is something to consider as well. Would certainly be more on the long-term bearish side here too. Anyways, let me get back into it. Let me just throw this off because, okay, there we go. All right, let me get back on the comments over here. All right, let's see what else we got. Hey, what's up, Jack Assiman? Good morning, Krown. Ethereum, Bitcoin, daily and weekly, please. Yes, let's go check this one out. Let's do the daily perusal on this one. And has it found its footing just yet? Did we hit our target to the downside? We got pretty fucking close there. I think I was saying like 5.3 million. We got down to about 5.5 million Satoshis. So on that scale right there, is that close enough? No, I do think that it probably does make a test down somewhere around the 21 exponential average right here before it's all said and done. And that is still somewhere right around about just under 5.3 million Satoshis. That says, let's go down to a daily and just see how this one looks like. And it's still not the picture of health and fitness, but it does look like it actually is getting ready for a little bit of an upside move, to be fair. It is kind of leveling out right there, albeit on a lower low, so trend is to the downside. I'm curious what the 2-day looks like. Yeah, not too, yeah, really unbecoming on this one too. You know, if this one wants to put in a rally from here, I'd say highest it goes is 6.7 million Satoshis. I would not, and I'd probably be looking to be a seller right around there, to be honest with you. I think that this one goes for more long form consolidation. And if anything, we do see another move to the upside, not this month, but probably July. In this case, I still do like the monthly. I still do like all higher term timeframes on this one. And if it can set up for a nice, you know, decent monthly closure anywhere, especially above 6 million Satoshis, which actually will have a chance to do, as we do see the monthly closure in a few days here. Then I would keep I would keep the horizon open coming into maybe not July, but probably August, September for another try to the upside. This would still look like a pretty damn good chart, all things considered. We do see all higher term timeframes are very fucking bullish right here, but short term timeframes, you know, even on like a weekly, daily, do we come a little bit lower and stab down to about 5.3 million Satoshis? I think it's possible, yes, but for right now, actually would be looking for a little bit of short term up. I know you didn't ask about the short term, but this one's been beat up quite a fair bit. We even see a 4-hour jewel buy signal right here. And this is actually a very good example of one too. So we already have gotten a decent move from it, but these ones I typically do like for a more prolonged move. And in this case, where's your next areas of interest to the upside? Short term, or I guess not so much short term, but the next big one's going to be right around 6 million Satoshis. Then you got 6.3 million Satoshis after that. Like I said, I do think that best it could do to the upside is probably somewhere around 6.7 million Satoshis. Long term, I'd give this one some, you know, a chance to kind of consolidate for maybe another month or so, and then perhaps give another major try to the upside. But for right now, sideways is the name of the game, and I do think that next move is to the upside on this one. I'm actually curious what Bitcoin dominance is looking like right now too, just because these should be playing opposite of each other. And have we hit a little bit of a high here? No, we have not actually. It's actually continuing to trend. So that would be a condition that just contradicts what I just said, that we probably test the downside first rather than the upside. Doesn't always have to play obtuse to this, of course, but this is very clearly in an uptrend, and a very powerful uptrend as well. So we do see the daily fall through, weekly same thing as well, and I think that the weekly is on a beeline for that 51% region right here, and probably even more than that over time, but I would be looking for a pullback right there. So based off of that, I would feel a lot more confident with the weekly, because those do match up really well. And if we're looking at the weekly on Ethereum Bitcoin, I do think your next like big potential base is going to be right around about 5.3 million Satoshis in this case, and then I'd look for it to give another try to the upside. So fair enough, that would actually be that would actually make a little more sense. Although, you know, when I do go down to the short-term timeframes, I really do like that signature right there. So we'll see how that one plays out. They don't always have to play like exactly opposite to each other, of course, but that is throwing me for a little bit of a loop. But again, you actually didn't really ask for short-term timeframes anyways, so fair enough. I guess I'll just leave it right there. It'd be a great signal, by the way. It'd be a great signal for Ethereum Bitcoin if we saw the monthly close at about 6 million Satoshis. If that were to happen, that'd look pretty damn good. Again, I'm not saying it's just going to blast off to the moon right after that, but it would set it up for the end of the year, I would say, and still have a remaining bullish bias for the long term. All right, what's up, Ryan Kramer? Mr. Kramer, doo-doo, love you, Krown. Love you too, sir. And doo-doo-doo. There we go. Pablo South says, Bollinger, Krown, can you look at Nucore 4-hour daily? Yes, we can. Let's do the weekly perusal of Nucore right here. I'm curious to see how this one's following along. Okay, still maintaining its prior major massive breakout. Let's see how the monthly is doing. Still looking pretty damn good to me. But what time frames are you looking at? You are looking at a 4-hour daily. All right, so what's a 4-hour saying right here? 4-hour short term, a little bit of downside. I'd be looking for it to come back down and retest around the $95.50 lows. Sorry, not 95, but $93.50 lows right here. And I'd look for it to try to put in another low structure within that region daily, which I believe is what else you asked about. Yes, the daily, same thing. Yeah, I'd be looking for it to come back down and retest those lows somewhere around $93.50 to $94. I'd also be looking for a bounce around those levels as well. Again, the higher term timeframes say do not be bearish on this. If this one wants to take another dump to the downside, I'd be looking somewhere around the weekly 21, which is it's going to be rising up to about $87. So I'd still be respectful of that. The monthly says long-term bullish bias still. I don't really see anything that's, obviously bearish about this. So I do want to, keep that long-term view in mind. I don't know if you are long-term in this one, because I'd really not feel good about calling a move down lower than that. So while it does probably have a little bit of short-term sideways, in very, very short term, very likely does come back down around those lows. Still give it a chance long term. I really like that chart, especially coming into the end of this year as well. Okay, cool. Michael Crook says, "Hey Krown, can you have a look at can you AHT stock 1 and 4 hour daily?" Okay, AHT. All right, let's see what this is. Ashford Hospitality Trust. Okay, fair enough. And you're looking at a 1 and 4 and daily. Okay, well, 1 hour's doing what? Probably coming back down. Maybe back down around $5 or so. 4 hour looks fine. Again, a little bit of a range here after a nice trend reversal. So short term, a little bit of downside perhaps, but I would be looking for that to try for another higher low. Daily is looking like what? Daily is looking fine. Again, kind of the same sort of analysis here. A little bit of short term sideways and down. Could very easily come back down, maybe just slightly below $5, but ultimately I would be looking for this reversal to be protected. I like the hidden bullish divergence right here, and I would be looking for this one to create a range essentially for a while between about $6 and about just under $5. In long term, do I think that it gives another try to the upside? Yes, this does look like a good reversal right here. The volume signature is very much indicative of that. Momentum oscillators are all on the northern side, so a little bit of short-term consolidation in a sideways format, and I'd be looking for this one to give another try up towards the upside. Long term, probably like $10 or so. Let's see what the monthly looks like. I know you didn't ask about it, but yeah, monthly is pretty atrocious here, so fair enough. I mean, it's actually saying hold your horses on like long-term bullishness. Perhaps that is not the right thing to be saying just yet, but at least for right now, short-term, a little bit of downside. Give it a chance to put in a higher low right there, and then I want to see the monthly close after that to look at the long-term. Let's see. Rocket Awkwardly says, "Thank you for the midday shorts video." Yeah, man, those have actually been really, really easy for me to put up, and it's actually a really good way for me to kind of refine my thoughts. Funnily enough, my hit rate on those videos is like infinitely higher than what they are in these videos right here, which is kind of sad. But I mean, it's also kind of a more in line with the way that I trade as well. It's like, all right, here we go. Here's just a couple indicators to look at. This is what they're saying. I'm going with this. Like, that's basically it. That's all that it is. Very, very simple stuff, but actually rather powerful, I would say. Anyways, so what's up, Mr. Legend Ali Z's? There he is. He's still got a Z's name in there. Everyone has a Z. Everyone has a little bit of Z's inside of them. CME charts, a retest of the 200 simple and 21E. To me, can you look at Nike daily, weekly? What is your question, sir? Okay. Okay. Well, we'll look back on this. Actually, don't even have those moving averages on right now, but we can throw them on really, really quickly here. I'm actually playing around with a little bit of a different setup right there. So is this just another retest of the 200 simple? Could be. Yes, but coming back up there and retesting this area so soon after the last 1, 2, 3 days, or sorry, 1, 2, 3 days right there, actually retesting it along all of those, I would say does kind of give a little bit more of an edge to the BULAs. Like if this one was going to reject and continue the downside, we really would have expected it from 25th of June to today. We would expect continuation down like now. So to speak. So is that still available? I suppose it is on CME, but I really wouldn't look at that as an actionable sort of trading environment until we take out the low side of it. That is 31,500 about right now. Let's see what the 4 hour says. You could also just use the last 4 hour low as a bit of a continuation point as well, and that's more or less right below $32,000. So I don't think that is doing that right now, to be honest with you. No, it's come back and retested it too many times, and the general rule is the more times that you test a support or resistance, the weaker that it does get. And in this case, we've tested it 1, 2, 3 times over the last 3 days. So. I do think I do think if you're looking for that trade, it was on Friday is what you already saw. Anyways, I think you're asking about Nike as well, daily, weekly. Okay. All right. NKE on NAS, or sorry, your stock exchange. Oh, very, 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 very good. Wow. Powerful earnings, I'm guessing. I believe you were looking at that one the other day. Holy shit, man. Okay, so what I remember last week, you asked a question about what you were going to be doing on the earnings date. You're looking for a long-term entrance. Okay, well, I guess that's a different question altogether. I'd be looking for this one to maybe come back down and test around the prior all-time high, which was your December, January highs right here. Maybe not all the way down, but somewhere around there in the upper 140s region. And that's probably where I'd be looking for, because this does look like a legitimate breakout. And a lot of the time you will see these major massive moves to the upside on a major gap up above a very obvious consolidation right here, which I believe we charted out. Yeah, we did chart out before. And those typically are like legitimate breakouts. And I think the volume signature here is extremely conclusive. We see weekly TSI turning up, weekly RSI is very, 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 very good. Volatility is also, of course, expanding as well on trend continuation to the upside. I do think that you're very, 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 very likely in for more gains on top of this one. Technically speaking, because this is a little bit of a flag formation, you probably could make a measure move on it. I really don't care too much for these types of measure moves, but they're okay, I suppose. Let's see what it would be postulating right here. That'd be suggesting somewhere right around, I guess I can't even pull it down. That'd be about just under 170. Actually, we could say 169 for the weekly move right there, and then probably consolidates a little bit after that, and potential continuation long term. Monthly is going to look absolutely phenomenal here. Yeah, monthly looks great. Again, this is a very aggressive chart. This is a very, very intense chart right here. However, can it go on for a little bit more time? Yeah, I do think so. So fair enough. Don't fight the trend in this case. And if you are looking for a long-term entry, I'd say anywhere in the upper 140s is fine. Do we come back down there today? I'm not so sure. It is a little bit unlikely that we do take out Friday low if this is going to continue on, but very good chart nonetheless. And at the very least, short-term timeframes, I would be looking for some sideways action right here. So that is, of course, up to you. Anyways, Gemini Athlete MMA says, hey, Krown, could you check out AUUD stock? Okay, AUUD right here. Audia on NASDAQ. Oh, what the fuck is this thing, man? What the hell? First off, this is an hourly and it barely has any information. It also, secondly, it barely even trades. Look, man, there's no real analysis to be looking at on this thing. There's not even a fucking daily, man. You're asking about a 4 on a daily? I mean, this thing's been around for... Wait a second, what? Hold on, this can't be right. This is 17th of February and we're already in June? That does not look right for whatever reason. Again, there's just not enough history to look at this, and this just looks like a shitcoin of a stock, man. I don't like this kind of stuff. If anything, though, the 4 hour probably is continuing trend to the upside. But look, I do not trust technical analysis on something like this, man. But if you put, if you said do it by the book, yeah, I'd say this is probably your short-term pivot. We probably move up from here. I do not fucking trust that at all, man. And I feel very disingenuous even giving you an opinion on this, because this is just a sloppy as fuck chart that honestly I don't think anyone should be looking at unless you have like some sort of inside information or you really believe in the project or whatever it is. This is just a monstrosity of a chart and probably a lot more difficult than it needs to really be. So fair enough right there. Extremely short term. Does it come back down to like 385? Probably yes, but you didn't even ask about an hourly, so I assume that you probably don't even care about that. I mean, there's really not any long-term analysis to do on something that's been around for this little of time and barely even has any activity going on anyways. I mean, this is something that I avoid, if anything. So unfortunately, I don't really think that I have anything of particular interest to say to you. Long-term, does it continue on with this? Probably yes, but dear Lord, man, I would not want any piece of that. More trouble than it's worth, sir. Okay, Super Googly says, hello, sir. What's up, man? How was your weekend? It wasn't too bad, man. Did a little bit of house hunting, and then I did a little bit of house searching. We looked at some houses in Helsinki, and then we also looked at some in Chicago, and I'm looking at prices, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck is this, man? Why are prices so low in Chicago? If you spend $1 million on like an apartment in Chicago, it gives you like, I don't know, 200, 300 square meters overlooking the ocean right on the beachfront, and it's like the best thing. It just looks amazing. It looks like a Batman apartment. But here in Helsinki, that just gets you, I don't know, some kind of run of the mill. So it's like, should we move back to America or not? I don't know. Anyways, okay, your question is, can we have a look at Ethereum Bitcoin daily, please? Yes, we can do that. Let me actually get up my thingies over here. I've actually not been marking off any of these altcoins just yet. So here we go. Here's your first altcoin, Elsa. You're going to be fucked with the with the timestamps today. That sucks. Looking at it right here, yeah, again, we already kind of looked at this one, but I think you had a bit of different time frames to be questioning on. Daily, please. Yeah, again, I do think it's a lot more likely to probably test the downside if you're looking at it daily, weekly. Short-term time frames do suggest an upside move first. And if we do get an upside move first, I'd say somewhere around 5.9 million Satoshis to 6 million Satoshis would be that. And then very likely that next move to the downside. This is mostly being based off of the strength in Bitcoin dominance that we see. And I do think that Bitcoin dominance will head back up to about 51% before we do see a bit of a pullback from there. But everything on Bitcoin dominance is bullish as it is right now. So looking at this here, maybe a short-term move to the upside, somewhere around 6 million Satoshis, but ultimately I would like to see this one base a little bit lower. I stick with my target from last week at about 5.3 million Satoshis, and then perhaps a major low in there. Long term, I really do still like this monthly chart here, and the quarterly and the bi-monthly, they all look pretty damn good to me. So other than that, I knew you didn't ask about that, but I do think it's important to kind of look at the higher term timeframes in this case, because they are showing a lot of good things going on right there. All right, Andy says, hey, what's up, Andy? Thank you for the daily financial education, sir. Sir, I'm just a derper on the internet right now. Well worth the YouTube membership and much more. I appreciate that, man. That's very humbling, I suppose. Please take a look at Matic 4-hour and daily. Sure. Okay, I think I already got this one down around here, 1.1. Just hanging on to the lows, certainly not acting as one of the strong ones as you would expect, seeing as this one was one of the better beneficiaries of the prior market. Right here, you know, very similar to Bitcoin in a lot of cases. We did take out the last sort of 4-hour swing high, so I would be looking for this one to make a stab up somewhere around about 118, maybe 120, anywhere around this prior high right here is fair game. That's where things do come into a little bit of a stopping point. I guess I already have it marked off right there. That's actually just below 122, just below 122. Above there, I would be looking for moves back up towards 140 to 147-ish region, but I do think it's going to be a lot easier to watch Bitcoin right now. If Bitcoin takes out, I believe it is, this would be around your like $40,000 level right here, or $39,000 level on a daily close, then yes, I would be looking for this move back up here. But as you can see, this one is certainly getting soaked up by Bitcoin on both the upside and downside moves. Whoops, there we go. So, you know, I do think this week, yeah, it could very easily get to 127. It's going to depend on what Bitcoin does, but I do think that Bitcoin has some upside here. So I would be favoring that move first and foremost. Looking at the 4 hour, am I seeing anything here that I don't see on Bitcoin? I mean, I see it. I see something that I typically don't like, but again, Bitcoin's going to decide the direction in this case. So, and you probably want that because this one on its own, I do not think is looking too hot. But yeah, short term, very likely back up to about 118, and then I keep a keen on about 122 or so above there. I'd extend targets significantly another 20 cents, more than 20 cents, another quarter or so. Again, easier to watch Bitcoin, but that's kind of how I look at it on a as like correlated to the downside. Obviously, Bitcoin below about 30,000, or one of the three metrics that we laid out earlier. This one's going to be all air down to 87.5 cents, maybe even all the way down to 75 cents. Anywhere around there is what I'd be looking for on the next major bounce. But for right now, yeah, I do still think that short-term upside, very, very likely. I do not think the long-term downside, though, or at least the question of long-term downside is done just yet. And if we look at the monthly, we can see very, very easily that this is a backfill in last month open. And technically speaking, you should be looking for a bounce from that region. So I wouldn't necessarily get like full-on gung-ho, bearish as all hell until we really start to close this month of June, and then perhaps into July, we'd actually see a move to the downside there. I don't think it happens this month, is what I'm trying to say. Next move, very, very likely to the upside in this case. Okay, what's up, Mario? Good sir, can you check out Amazon Weekly? Yes. AMZN, I believe, is the ticker. Yes, indeed it is. I've actually never traded Amazon myself. And what time frame are you looking at here? You are looking at weekly. Okay, so I'm on a monthly right now. I do want to say that the monthly does look pretty damn good long term. Again, another chart that's just absolutely ridiculous. If we put on a linear scale, of course, I mean, this is just insane, fucking insanity right there. Definitely. However, if you go back to log scale, one of the things that I've learned in my history, do not try to guess where the top is before the top is actually in. And this one does look like it wants more continuation long term. Is it coming in on the weekly exactly at this moment? I don't know about that. We do see a little bit of a rejection to end last week, and I probably would be looking for this week to trade a little bit lower, back down around 3,300 base or so. But I do like this formation right here. It is obviously flagging out at a high level, and I very likely would be looking for long-term continuation. It looks like I've charted this one out a long time ago because I was actually using these tools right here. But what we'll do now is we'll just redo this. Boom. And we got our nice rising bottoms coming in somewhere right around here. Nice little ascending triangle, or just whatever you want to call it. So, flagging out at a high level, depending upon what time frame you're kind of on. And we can make a Fibonacci extension on this one as well. Come up with some areas of interest to the upside. Big ones are going to be, of course, 39 or just under 3,900 bucks, and then 4,100 bucks or so would be it to the upside. And this is going to be confirmed as a continuation and a consolidation resolved. With any sort of a move back above the 26th of April high right here, which is 35.54 or so. So I do like this chart long term. Short term, does it come down and test around like 3,300? Yeah, it does look like it. Yes, 4 hour does show a little bit of short term downside. I know you didn't ask about that, but I do think it's important to kind of reflect upon. If this one came back down first to like 3,300, that would look a little bit better for me. Maybe even gives you another test along your rising trend line right here that's been getting the lows. But at the very least, short-term time frame is down first, and then maybe sets it up for a breakout. Probably not this month, but probably in July if it wants to. I mean, this does, for what it's worth, look pretty damn good as it stands. And I don't really see any real reason to be bearish on this thing, especially as long as it's above your last major lows, which is about 3,100 bucks. So I don't know how long-term you're on this one, but that's kind of how I'd be looking at it from that perspective. Again, a very impressive and crazy chart, but don't call the reversal before it happens. At some point, we will get a 10 to 20% correction in this market, but is it at this exact moment? I would not say so, no. Anyways, moving on, we got Jake 40. What's up, man? Hit the likes, people. Hit the thumbs up. Yeah, let's do the thumbs up and the subscribe and the hit the bell and all that good shit. Oh man, it always feels weird to say. Also, good day, sir. Euro yen on 4 hour daily. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Euro yen. This is actually not a pair that I typically look at. What's going on over there, sir?
Wow, could you please?
Girlfriend analysis coming up. Actually, that's Elsa's channel. You can hit her up with that. All right, we got Euro Yen right here. What time frames were we looking at here? 4 hour and daily. Okay. I do like the monthly, to be fair, but that is a long-term play, of course. 4 hour down. Very, very obviously down here. I'd be looking for this one to come back down somewhere around 131 and 725 or so short term. Daily down as well, very likely. I'd be looking for a daily base somewhere around about 131. Long term, I do like this chart a lot long term. Oh yeah, weekly. Okay, so we have a weekly reversal, we have a weekly uptrend, we have a weekly golden cross, and it just based on the 21. So technically speaking, I would generally be favoring more upside long term, but that is not not necessarily what you're asking. I do feel like I should check out the 1 hour right here. Could it be that we've already kind of hit that downside move? I'm saying a little bit lower than right now. I mean, what's another short move right there? Perhaps I don't feel as confident on that. You know what? Let's do a little bit more of an in-depth analysis on this one. Okay, monthly. Yeah, monthly is obviously bullish. We do have higher lows right there. We do see all momentum oscillators are in a bullish posturing as well. But can it come down first before another try to the upside? That's the real question in my opinion. Yeah, I do think so. Actually, I do think so. It'd be a very obvious trade if it came back down to about 131 and then bounced from there. That's kind of what I'd be looking for. Short-term timeframes, I'm actually not as confident on them now that I've kind of perused around a bit. But if I did have to call it, I would say down first, long-term up actually. And that, long-term again, we're talking about like, monthly and monthly plus essentially. And also the weekly looks pretty damn good too. But I'd be looking for sideways on the weekly. Short-term timeframes, if I had to call it, probably short-term down. But realistically within a range. Sorry, that probably wasn't all that helpful right there, but actually I just don't feel too confident on the short-term time frames. The higher ones that I do feel a lot better about on that particular one. Okay, we got Cole Evans. Hey, Krown. Hey, Mr. Cole. Cardano USD, Binance, please. I'm looking for a good long-term at this point and think I miss it at $1. Time frame, whatever you think is relevant. Okay, so you're looking for a long-term. It sounds like you're a long-term investor, which is cool. Let's see. Where is my damn charts right here? Where did I get rid of Cardano? No, I certainly haven't gotten rid of it. There it is. Found it. Okay, you feel like you missed your opportunity at $1. We did say that last week that $1 would have been the major range buys. Would I say that you've missed it? It is actually looking a lot better here than most things all considered, to be fair. This one is certainly getting a lot of love within this market. That is just, you just don't see across the rest of the market. 12 hour has an obvious, it's a lot of an obviously higher low than Bitcoin in this case. I'd be looking for this one to trade back up towards 144. But let me see, what exactly is your question? Your question is you're looking for a good long-term at this point. Okay, so what makes a good long-term trade or a good long-term hodl? Well, essentially, it means that you're buying on a major support. So when we're talking about major support for an asset like this, which has really only been around for a few years, the best that we can probably do is like a weekly, to be fair. And on this case right here, what do I like for the weekly? I do like the weekly 21 in this case. That is right around $1.25. Problem is, though, if Bitcoin does turn sour, if Bitcoin does turn south, this one is going to come down with it, of course. But short term, do I think that this one has a little bit of a chance to the upside? Yes, I do. And you do have a very obvious risk management point as well. If we actually do reverse from this area, which I think is a little bit less likely, but that would be your 26th of June low, which is 119.5. Below there, I probably don't want any long positions anytime soon, but as long as we do maintain above there, I do think that anywhere around $1.25 is kind of like an obvious, a potential good setup. I shouldn't say an obvious trade, but an obvious good setup is what I would say, because your risk is, relatively low. I mean, you got about 5.5 cent of positional risk right there. And then your upside, I mean, you're basically playing this as like your next macro low. Could it come down and base around $1 again? Yes, that is what I'd be looking for if we do take out the 26th of June low. So that's why I do say it's a good pivot, because if we do take out that low, you could just reposition lower if you really want that still. But again, it's going to be better to be watching Bitcoin, in my opinion. Whatever Bitcoin does, this thing will mirror, but to the upside, this one probably does actually outperform. It has been acting incredibly well. And actually, I do want to check out the Bitcoin pairing here, because this is one of the few ones that I think might actually have a chance to be doing better. And no, it's actually still giving up a little bit here too. But, is this a good low structure right here? I want to see like something resembling bullish evidence. We actually don't see that in this case. Yeah, a little bit unhelpful in this chart actually. What about the weekly? I mean, it's still a weekly uptrend. I mean, it still looks very good on the weekly, no doubt about that. The question is, do we come lower first before another try to the upside? I think the weekly actually does show some pretty damn good things, as does the monthly. The monthly, I just look at a backfill and a back test of your May major meltdown, and that's actually typically a pretty damn good thing. So long-term monthly, I'm very, very bullish on this chart. As I am on the dollar chart as well. But problem is with that is that, you know, whatever Bitcoin does, this one will do as well. So I am of the opinion that Bitcoin does, or at least I am of the bias based off of what we spoke about earlier, that Bitcoin does head up into the deeper 30,000, maybe even $40,000 territory. This one was going to be a pretty damn good play from there. But is that a long-term investment for you? I don't know if that means anything for you, because I don't see what I want to see on a macro low for Bitcoin just yet. It doesn't mean that it can't happen, but I still would think that it's going to, you know, it's not happening like today or tomorrow is what I'm trying to say. You don't need to rush into position. If you feel like that, it's typically a good sign that you probably shouldn't take action in my experience. But again, that's a decision for you to make. I do think that there's a good setup right here. If not, you could probably, you know, you're probably going to get a buck again, but I don't know. Do you want a buck if it comes back down there? Probably not the best sign if that happens, to be honest with you. But looking at the weekly, you know, you give it the benefit of the doubt. Speaking of the weekly, we actually should look at Ethereum really, really quickly here, because did Ethereum break its 21? It did. It did. That's not good. That's not fucking good. Yeah, to the upside, going to be capped at around $2,200. That is that's not the best signal right there. That's bad. All right, sweet. What else do we have here? What else do we have? We got Mr. BK. What's up, Mr. BK? Hey, Krown, can you look at AMP USD on Gemini 4-hour daily weekly? Yes. Okay. AMP. See, this one was another one that was acting really, really well, all things considered. Okay, so let's start off with the short-term timeframes first. What are we looking at right here? It does look like we have a nice short-term low in. Hey, we hit our target from last week too. That's pretty damn good. I'll be looking for this one to try to the upside short-term here, probably back up at around 6.5 cents or so. Similar to Bitcoin, short-term very likely does have a bit of a bullish bias here. And I think you asked about daily and weekly as my coffee comes up through my mouth hole. And looking at the daily right here, yeah, I'd be looking at an obvious kind of like short-term, medium-term target somewhere around just above 6.5 cents actually. The question is though, is this your next daily low, or is this like a good daily low, so to speak? And we do see hidden bullish evidence coming off that, so I do think it's incredibly likely that you will see that move up to about just past 6.5 cents, somewhere around like 6.6 or 6.7 cent. The question is, do we get continuation from there? I'd like to see really realistically closures above 7.5 cents before I really look at this as like, and confirm this as the next major low. Bless you, sir. Anyways, looking at the weekly right here, I can go either way on this one, but for right now, I do favor the trend. And again, any sort of inherent bullishness in Bitcoin very likely does spill over well to this one. I do understand this one did have a bit of an event last week where it got listed on Coinbase, so I am somewhat cognizant of that. And you also do have a pretty damn bearish setup here too, but it is not actionable until you do this, until you basically take out last week's low. You don't even need to close below it, but just tick below it at 5 cents. And then yes, you will have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish evidence on the weekly, and you'll probably see move back down to about 3.2 cents. Again, I don't think that's what's happening right here. In fact, Bitcoin's even testing around 34.7 I can see right now too. So I'd, you know, short term, yes, upside. I want to see it close some dailies above about 7.5 cents, and then I'd feel very confident saying that this one's going to come back up and test around 10 cents or so, and looks pretty damn good long term. So fair enough. Hopefully that was in some way helpful. Yadin Sethi says, "Hey Krown, can we please look at fourth USD on the 4-hour and 12-hour?" Yes, fourth USD. Oh, I need to turn back on the, no, I do have the alerts on. Okay, good. All right, fourth USD, we'll go Binance, and you said 4-hour and 12-hour. Okay, interesting. Not everyone wants to look at the 12-hour always, but fair enough. Oh, there we go. Bitcoin right around 34.8 now. Not bad. Okay, what are we looking at right here? Okay, so this is some sort of cryptocurrency. We do see a change of behavior on the volume signature. We did have bullish evidence come with a low. That was quite the response from that, to be fair. Not always going to happen like that. I'd be looking for this one to trade a little bit of sideways, and perhaps it does come back down and test around like 1585 or so. Anywhere right around here is fair game. Anywhere right around there, which is actually, sorry, a little bit lower than that, about $15.5, $15.5 to be clear with that. I would be looking for a bit of a base right there. This is actually pretty damn good. I do like this. I really do like the signature going on. Now, you did ask about a 12-hour as well. Oh, okay, now I see why you asked about a 12-hour, because this one doesn't have the most history of all time. Short term, a little bit of downside perhaps, maybe test back down to like 15.5. I'd give it a chance to put in a higher level, a higher low right there on your 4-hour in this case. Long term relevant to these time frames, I would be looking at another move back up to the top side of your prior range highs, which is right around at about 25.25. And this does look like a good reversal off the lows for right now. So I do respect that. Again, short term is really only relevant, again, for the short term. In fact, if I'm looking at an hourly right here, it says that you already kind of played out your downside move. Now, it is an hourly, admittedly, but when you don't have that much history in a chart, an hourly can get it. And actually, like I've been saying, the hourly on Bitcoin has actually been really good to me this past week. So I think I'm going to start to switch around my views on that, to be honest with you. In fact, short term on this one says that we already have the low end, to be fair. So what does a 4 hour say? I'd like to see something more obvious on a 4 hour. We don't see that just yet. Maybe a buy early is going to have some of interest. Yeah, it could very easily come back down to like 16 or so, or 16 and a half. But generally speaking, I do like the reversal, and I think that's probably what you're more interested in. And here's what I could say that I think would be a little more helpful. As long as you're above 15 and a half bucks, I do treat it as a reversal is real and very likely to test back up towards 25 and a quarter. Over time, not today or tomorrow, but over time. Again, more or less based off of Bitcoin's moves here too. But assuming that we do see Bitcoin test around the top side of the $30,000 range, we'll probably see some. We'll probably see it somewhere around there as well. Okay, cool. Chris Crescenti says, big fan. I never miss a stream. All right, well, cool, man. That's awesome. Does that last minute 1500 markup right before the weekly close raise your eyebrow? No, it doesn't, because okay, let's first kind of mark off exactly what you're talking about. So you're talking about this right here. Was this our weekly close coming in from? Actually, it's hard to know. Okay, so it's about 3 a.m. my time where that happens. Are you sure it's on the 1 minute, or do you mean like the hourly? Anyways, whatever you're talking about, you're probably talking about this right here, right? Yeah, this is a $1,500 move, it looks like. Yeah, more or less a little bit more than $1,500 move. Okay, so there's an actually very logical reason as to why these things happen right around the daily close, and also, if you'll notice, the 12-hour close. First and foremost, from an underlying market dynamic standpoint, we do have obviously funding rate changes around those time periods. So a lot of the time you will see a bit of posturing around that in order to kind of avoid paying the funding rate a lot of the time. Now that is actually secondary to what I'm about to say right here. And what is more important is a lot of the time around a daily, and in this case, this was also a weekly close as well. So keep that in mind. Like, we have very high term timeframes closing right here. A lot of the time, that's where people are going to be marking themselves to. And so they will, wait until the last second posture to essentially take over the daily or weekly close, paint it whatever color they want. This is where the real market movers show their hand, because that's essentially where they're going to be marking it off to, as far as their like algos or bots go, for the most part. Now, this is not always true in all situations, of course, but in general. So this is why a lot of the time you do see within the last hour of the day, before a daily close, and especially a weekly close as well, or any higher term time frame for that matter, you will see some more floaty and flighty price action, which can be a little bit more aggressive and volatile in a lot of cases. In fact, it would actually be a really good study to do, to like look at the volatility of just like the last hour of a trading day, or also maybe even the last hour leading up to a 12-hour closure, just kind of see what the response is, because I would imagine you probably see a lot of pivots on price action around that time. So fair enough. I think that kind of I think that answers what you're asking. Yeah, I think so. So does it raise an eyebrow? No, it's actually those are realistically the times to be paying attention, because a lot of the time, you'll see where the market really wants to go. I mean, that's where the algos want to mark this thing. This is obviously not relevant to cryptocurrencies, but when I was trading traditional markets, most of the business was done in the first hour of the day, first hour and a half maybe. And then the last half hour of the day, to essentially, take over the open and then take over the close. In between the middle of the day, very, very little business was getting done, and most people would actually just like leave. Most people just leave. So yeah, man, a lot of the time it's actually just waiting for those pivotal moments is where a lot of the opportunity is. So fair enough. Anyways, the 4-hour trader says, hello, Zer. What's up, man? Can you please check out Aussie dollar, US dollar? Yes. Okay. 4 hours specifically. AUD, USD. See how this one's doing. Let's see how the old Aussie dollar is doing right here. And just the 4 hour. Okay. Let's see what the 4 hours looking like. Fucking weird. That's what it looks like. I need to look at the daily here. I know you didn't ask about it, but I'm just curious. Okay, let's take all this nonsense off here too. What does the weekly look like? Okay. The weekly is a lot more obvious than the short-term timeframes here. I do look at this as very likely to try back up towards 76.5, 77 cent region. This is not calling a macro move to the upside, though. I do think it just tests the upside right now. I would not feel comfortable saying that it has like general continuation. Short-term timeframes, if we're looking at the hourly, little bit of sideways here. We see an obvious higher low structure, of course. So I do favor that, something like this. So if, does it come back down to like 75.80 first? Perhaps yes. You do have an obvious sort of risk management point for that as well, below about 75 or so. Kind of an alliteration of numbers, I suppose. 4 hours is sloppy sideways. But based off the week, they actually do like the upside, or at least another try towards that. I'm being thrown for a little bit of a loop on the 4 hour right here. It's just so bizarre looking. I don't know what to make of that actually. 12 hour, do we see anything particular note right here too? If this is going to be a lower high, I expect to see something resembling hidden bearish divergence, and it is potential, yes. So here's my condition for completely reverting my analysis on this one. Okay, if this confirms a local high right here, you will have hidden bearish divergence going back to this high right here from 16th of June. If that happens, I would be targeting to move back down to about 75 cents actually. Now, how would you confirm this is a local high? I'd want to see it close below the low of the prior 12-hour dildo in this case, which is 75.82 and a half. So if you see that, then I would actually switch around short-term bearish, looking for continuation back down to last week's lows or so. Until then, just sideways, a little bit of downside short-term. Does it test back down around here? That's completely fine. As long as it holds the higher lows, even on the hourly, I think that's okay. Also, if you do have caretaker's RSI and you do see this actually print and confirm a bearish divergence right here, phantom div is what we like to call it. I would look for this next move to come down somewhere around the 200 simple, in this case around 75 or so. But this is not confirmed, as you can just see. It just had a couple ticks to the upside, and this is not even an availability right there too. So at the end of the day, I do think this one's just more or less sideways short term. We can use last 12-hour low as, or sorry, not the last one, but the one prior to that, as a continuation point to the downside. Until then, I suppose I would be more or less sideways and up. Below that point, and we confirm that hidden bearish divergence on the 12-hour, I'd be looking for another move back down around last week's lows if that were to happen. So a little bit more of a complicated one right there, but I do think that we kind of need to look at a bunch of different time frames to get a general overview of it. All right, let's see. Zishan Malik says, "Hey Krown, what's up, man? Always fun to watch your video. Awesome, man. Glad to hear. It's now a ritual every morning, as it is mine too, man. Just the same thing as like brushing my fucking teeth. It's like I don't even feel like my day's complete unless I do these videos nowadays. Thank you, good sir. My pleasure, sir. Could you look at HSY, please, on the 4-hour daily weekly? Okay, HSY. Oh, the Hershey company. This thing. The chocolates. Looking good, man. Looking very good right here, actually. Let's see now, what time frame were you looking at again? 4-hour daily weekly. Okay, well, daily looks pretty damn good. I think that the volume signature right here is very conclusive alongside the regular bullish divergence coming off those last few lows, alongside daily TSI looking for a little bit of a twist up, also closing on new all-time highs, also seeing volatility finally starting to expand off of this major base right here. Very reminiscent of Nike, not as strong as Nike, of course, but a pretty damn good chart nonetheless. Weekly, love it. I'd be looking for general continuation of the upside over the next couple weeks. But you're also asking about short-term timeframes as well. Yep, bullish on all timeframes, man. Looking really fucking good right here. Looking really, really good right here. Could you see a pullback back down to like 174 and a quarter? Perhaps yes, but generally speaking, I do like the upside. I do favor the upside. All momentum oscillators do point northwards, and I would generally looking up. Do I have any targets for this? I do not know. I don't think that you can really generate accurate targets in a blue sky breakout. Best I can do is some sort of Fibonacci extension, but I don't see like an obvious consolidation here. I mean, this is your consolidation, yes, but I wouldn't trust an extension for this. I just generally be bullish on it. Look for some sort of reversal formation, which I don't think is happening right now. I mean, this one looks really fucking good. Let's see what the monthly looks like. Oh yeah, man, really fucking good right here. And in fact, if we are going to look at the monthly, this is your consolidation. Now, this is a monthly after all, so it's not going to like hit these targets today or tomorrow, but perhaps around end of year. This one could get up to like 190 or so. This one looks really fucking good here. Really fucking good over a long period of time. Again, another phenomenal chart. This is what a good chart looks like. This is what you want your shit to look like. Yes, it is ridiculous. It is aggressive. This is what linear scale looks like. At some point it will reverse, but not yet. Not yet. So again, very similar to Bitcoin at like 50, 60,000 bucks when we were saying, hey, look, this looks fucking ridiculous. Yes, but until we get a reversal, it's not wise to be bearish on it. And well, we got a reversal. So how do you get that? I want to see a daily reversal first, of course. Okay, cool. Pablo Sal says, bruh, people should avoid shitcoins like Dogecoin like a plague. Well, Chicago is like BitConnect. Stay Safu. Please look at Piton 4-hour daily. Why do you say Chicago is like BitConnect? Actually, when I was living in Chicago, it was pretty damn nice. I was living in River North, and I quite liked it. I know that Chicago is kind of known for its crime and everything, but I never really saw too much of that there, to be honest with you, unless if you go to Southside, which is a completely different story. Looks very good right here. I believe we looked at this one last week for you, and we were bullish on it, and I'd still remain bullish on it right here, man. This is very, very good. It's testing around your prior range highs, and while I don't know if it necessarily has the power to break through it just yet, it did test around it on last Thursday. And actually had a pretty damn good Friday close as well. I do think that this one very likely does bust through there over time. You do have a bit of an inverted head and shoulders right here. It's kind of a complex one, but double left shoulder, head, and a complex right shoulder over here too. So we could make potentially a measure move on this one, or I imagine it's just going to be around your prior highs. Let's see, it should be around the 2-spot extension in this case. And what do you know, that actually is around your prior highs. So I would want to see confirmation on a breakout above your 13th of April highs right here, which is 124.80. Generally speaking, though, I really, really like it. We do have a trend reversal. We do have a golden, we do have an inverted golden cross right here, which is very, very good. Daily TSI up, daily RSI back in the bullish control zone. I like all these things. Weekly is powerful. Weekly is very, very good. So I would be looking for this one next major level, somewhere right around about 136.5 or so, anywhere around here, which actually, if you can notice, is right around the 1.272, perhaps even a range between there and the 414 is where I'd be generally looking towards. Now, did I talk about the time frames that you wanted to talk about? 4 hour and daily, I think we did. Yeah, 4 hour grinding up against the highs. I'd want to see the 4 hour get a golden cross, kind of trade a little bit sideways before then, probably yes. So short term sideways, higher term time frames sideways and up, looking good, looking very, very good actually. All right, let's see. Flavio, Mr. Flavio, what's up, man? Amorel, hey, sir, loving the app and overall bias. Fuck yeah, man. Glad to hear that. I'm so fucking proud of that. Oh my God. I have to tell you, man, the 2 guys that we're working with, we have a programmer and a designer, and then two customer service ladies. They're just phenomenal. They truly are the best, and we have even more like free shit coming for that, which is like they keep on blowing my mind. They're like, we can add this and this and this, and it's like, oh. This sounds amazing. Anyways, can you look at KSM on KuCoin, 4 hour daily weekly? Yes. Okay, KSM. I actually think I have it on my list over here because it was one of the better winners from the past cycle. Not so much anymore, though. Definitely not acting as one of the strong ones. And you're asking about the 4 hour daily weekly. Okay, we'll start low. We'll end high. 4 hour, I'm going to try to put in a little bit of a rally here alongside the rest of the market. This one is certainly relatively weak, though. I do not like this one in comparison to a lot of the other cryptos that we've looked at. But does it have some short-term upside? Yes, we do have some phantom div coming off the last low, 4 hour TSI turning up, 4 hour BBWP looking for expansion here. So this expansion very likely comes to the upside. Short-term resistance somewhere right just above $200, like 205, 206 regions, or sorry, 205 to 210 regions where I'd be looking towards, just right at the high of this little consolidation right here. And then you're looking at daily and weekly, and you're saying daily and weekly targeting 95 to 30 and 35 to upside. And wait, hold on, upside 290. Hold on, let's see what we're looking at right here. I mean, that would be 210 right there. Okay, if this thing's gonna get back above 210 to 215 or so. I'd imagine that would also coincide with Bitcoin above like 39 or 40,000 bucks, and that would initiate moves into the deeper 40s. As to which this one, do I think that it'd get up to 290? Somewhere around about 275 is where I'd be looking towards. This is not one of the ones that's acting well, though, all things considered. This one's barely participated in the bounces, and it is very fucking fragile in this positioning here too. It was actually operating incredibly well for the month, for most of the month prior to that, but this price action right here is just not what you want to see. Anyways, you also asked about a weekly as well. I don't know if there's much on a weekly here. Yeah, I don't think there's long-term upside in this one from this point. Just short-term, maybe 210 to 215 is certainly not out of the question. If things really get crazy, I'd say what was it, like 290 on the daily? No, 275 on the daily to 290-ish region. Somewhere around there would be okay. But looking at the weekly right here, I do think long-term this one probably does come to the downside. I do not like this. Obvious areas of, there's not, the problem with obvious areas of support is there's actually none on the weekly. There's just not enough time transpired here to really build up any sort of real structure. Realistically, the last sort of actual consolidation you had was between about 40 and 25 bucks. So if this one, if the market does turn south, this one's going to get absolutely fucking shreked. But as long as Bitcoin has a little bit of short-term promise, does this one test back up around those levels? Probably yes. Long-term though, I'd really hate to be in that one if Bitcoin turns down, especially from where we're at right now. See what the hourly looks like. Oh, hourly rejection. We're going back down. Just kidding. Maybe a little bit of downside on the hourly, to be fair. Anyways, Cruxy says, morning, Krown, what's up, man? Can we take a peek at AMP Aussie dollar? Okay. Okay, let's see. AMP versus Aussie dollar. I don't believe we can pull that up, sir, as you can see. listed on ASX on a daily and weekly. Unfortunately, it looks like assuming that I actually have your comment here properly set, we can't pull that up. Let me just double check. AMP versus AUD. Yeah, we can't pull that up, unfortunately. You're saying though it trades on ASX, so it should be on TradingView. But apologies, man, we actually can't look at it because TradingView is limiting us right now, I suppose. Kevin fucking One says, "Sup, man? What's up, Kevin? Can you check out KSM BTC?" Okay, so we looked at it versus USD. Let's see what it looks like versus BTC. In fact, versus BTC, I imagine it's probably not going to be looking too hot. Okay, and apparently I have this one charted out from way long ago. Wow, these levels worked out pretty fucking well. Funnily enough, let's delete everything here though and get a fresh eye on these charts. Okay, this one actually does have long-term structure built up, which is good. And you are testing around your prior sort of consolidation high on that first blow off top in September 2020. Right around here is what I'm talking about. This is kind of like a natural bounce point. Do I think that we grind this level out a little bit more? Yes, somewhere down around 0.4822 region. Can test down around there a few more times, but ultimately I would be looking for it to cradle the lows a little bit and give a try to the upside versus the Bitcoin pairing. Weekly, yeah, right around the 55 there, a little bit of a natural bounce point. I'm not so certain that this thing's going to like reverse back onto all-time highs or anything like that. I just think that this is a good bouncy area after grinding the lows a little bit. Obvious range here to the upside is right around 0.006 or so, just this little high side of the consolidation right here. Again, definitely a little bit weaker as far as the last half month goes, but it was acting so well before that, which it makes me consider maybe they had something fundamental going on right here, because we would have expected this one to actually be acting a lot better within this consolidation, all things considered, and it's not. So I suspect that there's maybe something else going on, because that's some pretty fucking intense selling that we saw both on the Bitcoin and the US dollar pairing, which is like doubly nasty. So again, I do think that it will bounce from here, yes, but does it test around the lows a few more times? Yes, very, very likely. 4 hour is just deathly just awful looking, but I do think we are preparing for a bounce. So maybe another test of the lows and then another try to the upside. Maybe as much as like 6,200 Satoshis, but I would be very defensive on this one for the higher term timeframes. I would be looking for a pullback from there at the very least, maybe get a closure above, in which case you can extend your targets back up to like 7,500 Satoshis, or not 75, but 0.075 or so. But this one is not the picture of health and fitness right now. Monthly is a bearish engulfing, if anything. So I have to be saying long-term downside if it closes anything like this, and we only got another, let me see. We got today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So we got about 3 days left, a little bit less than 3 days left to trading. If it closes anything like this, anywhere below 6,400 Satoshis, or 0.064, I'm going to be looking for a lot more prolonged downside on the long term. But for right now, short term probably does try for a bit of a bounce before that move transpires. Okay, cool. Also you added a few more things on that. Would a bounce make sense here? Yeah, I do think you are probably in for a low term time frame bounce. Looking at daily RSI and potential support from last summer, support resistance flip, or is that just crazy talk? I do think it's good enough for a bounce, yes, but I really don't like the way that monthly looks. So I do think that your bounce is a bit limited. And again, when you're looking at that versus the Bitcoin pairing, it's a lot more easy to be just naturally bearish on it, because the Bitcoin dominance chart is naturally bullish over here. So that would be saying that, maybe KSM does go up versus USD. In fact, it very likely will go up versus USD if Bitcoin goes up versus USD, which it looks like it is right now. But does that help out its Bitcoin pairing? Probably not. No, I mean, this is a powerful reversal right here. So I do like that. Okay, cool. I think we can get on to some other comments now here too. Let's see what we got, man. Oh shit, I need to wait for it to get back down around there. There we go. All right, sweet. Let me pick a few out here. Let's see. What's up, Jeff? Caretaker brilliant. Jackie is great. Liquidity Zone rocks. Yeah, man. Liquidity Zone is great. Jackie's great. And Caretaker is just the man. Is he here right now? I don't. Okay, let's see. We got Abraham Lean. Nope, he's having a conversation with someone, so I am going to let them have their own conversations. Joshua M says, can you take a look at Hex USDC on daily, weekly? Sure. Yeah, I'm actually very curious to see how Hex has been holding up here. All things considered, you do have to give credit where credit is due, and this one certainly does deserve a lot of credit. And hey, not bad, not fucking bad. Holy shit, man! I feel very silly about Hex, because I've actually called this one probably one of the best ones of any of the altcoins here. Anyways, looking at this one, I do like it for a short term move to the upside, probably like 8 spot 3 cent or so. Do I think that is done on the weekly schedule though. I think at best you're going sideways here, but next move very likely is to the upside. I'd want to see it go sideways for a while before I look for any sort of next major move. Next move probably does bring it back up to somewhere north of 8 cents or so, but I don't necessarily think that it's ready to like trend to the upside just yet. I don't think it's going to be doing anything like that anytime soon. I think it's going sideways for a while. The weekly did have a pretty phenomenal rally right here, and so going sideways for a while in between a range between about like 8.5 cents, we'll say, all the way down to 6.5 cents is probably the most likely thing to happen over the next like month or two as it kind of resolves itself, and then maybe prepares for another move to the upside over that time. Maybe not, but this one is probably one of the most decoupled from the general market here. But at least short term, yeah, it does look good here. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up somewhere around like 8.3, 8.4.5 cents or so, then come back to it after that. Could this potentially be your next higher low? It could be. I mean, it is still a higher low to be fair, and we do have hidden bullish evidence on that, so I do at the very least look for some short-term continuation, but I do suspect that it's not ready to trend just yet. I want to see it consolidate for a little bit of time with short-term upside, yes. M. Smith wants to look at AMC. Yeah, let's look at some meme stocks here too. We got, okay, AMC Entertainment, and what is it? Yes, finally petering out a little bit. I think GameStop's a little bit more easy to look at for the meme stocks, which I do still stick with what I've been saying. This one's, we're entering into the slow bleed. I don't know if I'd say AMC is entering into the slow bleed just yet until we really take out like $49 to the downside. We do see the daily Jewel actually has a pretty decent sell signal going on right here, and that happened on 22nd of June. So where were we on the 22nd of June? We're actually on this little on this little pushback right there, to be fair, but I would not look at this as actionable until we do see this really break below about $49. If we break below $49, yes, I would look for the inevitable situation of the collapse to happen. Next target would be down around about 33, 32.5 bucks, and then probably even more than that over time. I mean, it will go for the full retrace over time, but until that happens, I would give it the benefit of the doubt. I just don't like shorting into fucking uptrends, man. GameStop, I think, is a lot more easy. So GameStop has a lot of things going on right here. I do think the GameStop party is over, as I have been saying basically ever since here. Now, it's been dragged on for a long time, which I did say was likely as well, to be fair, but you do see a bit of a swing failure pattern right here. We did close on new highs, no continuation. It turns into a bit of a trap situation. This one's going into the sideways dead heartbeat of death. But it's going to take time, man. I still think that this could easily take another year, maybe even 2 years before it inevitably comes down below, $50, and probably even down to like $20 is where it really belongs. Is where I'd imagine. Now, I do understand they're starting to make a bit of changes within the way that they kind of handle their business, so maybe that could be a bit of a catalyst. But as it stands right now, this is just becoming what's worse than going down. It's becoming irrelevant, actually. Short term, I'd probably even be looking for this one to come down to like 172 or so. But monthly, not the worst monthly right there, but would be considered a rejection, to be fair. It's gonna take some time, man. But my question is does AMC get another liftoff similar to what GameStop got? I don't know. Like I said, I would respect the daily uptrend first. If that gets destroyed, then yes, it's time to go into the bleeding aspect of it. Opening a put on AMC, I probably wouldn't. Well, I don't know. Let's see. What is volatility looking like right there? I really don't like buying fucking premium. Oh, it's actually not the worst time. We actually do see BBWP is around the low 30 percentiles. Yeah, 34 percentile right there. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Hey, no problem, Jeff. Nice one. Okay, sweet. You like that, Ethan Hicks? Yeah, man, I've been having some good fun in Chivalry. Dutch Masters Dutchland says, Krown, I am trying to trade full time. Should I learn to trade options? Any suggestions where I can learn? Okay, so should you learn options if you're trying to trade full time? I do think that if you are going to be a full time trader, you are certainly limiting yourself by not learning options, because options are going to be a better way to manage your risk, at least in the way that I look at things, than just trading straight up spot. Here's what I would say though: if you are not already profitable just trading spot or even just like derivatives, like futures and whatnot, then I would say you should probably at the very least be somewhat profitable, like consistently profitable. It doesn't matter if it's just like a little bit, but consistently profitable, trading in the more like generic and easier senses, so to speak, before moving on to something a little more complicated like options products. So I don't know if that's true for you or not, but I would say that at the outset. Now, assuming that you already are, consistently profitable, I don't even care if it's like, 51%, of your trades are winners or not. But if you're just consistently profitable, then where do you go and learn options? Well, I do have a free playlist on this channel right here, which you can definitely check out. That'll get your feet wet, but it's extremely fucking basic. Obviously, I do have an options program as well, but that's going to be a lot more expensive, and perhaps you might not, be interested in something like that. I'll just do the general, look around the internet type thing. You should be all that information is pretty freely available out there, like finding out, what's this strategy, what's that strategy. If you can learn what a spread, a strangle, a cover, or a straddle are, if you can learn those 4 things, you probably don't need anything else, because all major option strategies are based off that. And then of course the application of where you actually put those on is where the real art comes into it. But that's why I say it's important to kind of have a good base in trading spot first, because that's going to really play into it, into like actually positioning yourself properly. So as far as options go, people like to make them a lot more complicated than what they really should be. And for that reason, I just kind of like to limit things to like, look, you got spreads, strangles, straddles, and covers. Like if you can learn that, you're probably going to be fine. You're probably going to be good. And realistically, all strategies are based in some way off of a variation of all of those different 4 like general strategies. So fair enough, man. Hopefully that is in some way helpful. But yeah, man, you should be able to find most of what you need to learn over the internet pretty much for free anyways. It's just going to be a bit discombobulated, and well, at the same time, you don't really know if that person like has verified themselves anyways. But if the basics are pretty well out there, so fair enough. All right. Okay. Can you analyze true bits? Ticker true. Okay. This should. Oh boy. True. Is it on TradingView? It is not. This is TrueFi, not true bits. So looks like it's a little bit too shitty even for TradingView, which is probably not a good signal, man. Or maybe I'm just being an asshole and it's just too new. Who knows? I don't know. Anyways, okay, so you're saying, so Dutch Master is back. He's saying, thank you so much, Krown. Been doing well with Spot. I was hoping you offered the info. Yeah, man. Like I said, I do have a free options playlist on this channel, and I believe within that options playlist there actually is one of the videos from the program that actually goes over. I believe it's a spread video, so you can check that one out, man. And honestly, if you can just learn spreads, I mean, that's going to be pretty damn powerful in and of itself. So. Start small, start easy. Don't try to overload yourself with like learning the iron condor and the fucking butterfly, because realistically, man, I've never ever thought to myself, oh, today's the butterfly day, today's the iron condor. Never, not even fucking once. Even though naturally I will end up with those positions, but that's based off of doing what is necessary at that time, rather than just saying, hey, today's a fucking iron condor day. I think that's bullshit, and people who trade like that are, well, they're certainly not doing it optimally, and I'd imagine that most of them are probably not going to be too successful doing it that way anyways. Opinion of binary options, garbage, absolute garbage, avoid like the plague. Binary options are bastardized options products, and options are already hard enough as themselves. Binary options are just a waste of time. I would strongly suggest avoiding those as much as possible. Yeah, man, binary options are just not like, look, if you can trade real options, trade real options. Do not trade fucking binary options. That is for that. I don't want to get into it right now. I'll go into a fucking rant. I like your advice on mastering spot first. Yeah, man, master the easy stuff first, because realistically, it's just like trading an account size, right? You don't fucking start out like going 100% in. No, you start out small, prove to yourself that you can do it, and then add on top of that. You don't start out with learning fucking calculus when you're learning in school. No, you start off with simple addition and subtraction, then you work your way up, right? You don't just try to do everything all at once. I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster. You from the Merc Krown? No, I traded actually opposite of that on SIBO and actually priorly on New York Stock Exchange ARCA, which is in San Francisco. But yeah, man, I knew a lot of people who traded there. Actually, I knew one of the fucking brokers there. I met him in the gym that I went to. And if you traded on the Merc, you probably know him. His name was, I don't even know what his name was, but we called him Uncle Albert, and I imagine you probably know him by that name as well. If you know that guy is fucking insane. He's great. He's the real Wolf of Wall Street, I think. Anyways, hey, what's up, Nimbo? Binary options are usually scam exchanges that just steal your money. Yeah, exactly. I'm of the same opinion, more or less. Like, don't trade binary options. Trade real options if you're going to trade real options. Binary options are just garbage. I'm changing my screen name to Iron Condor. It's a good metal bound name, I would say. Iron fucking Condor. That's awesome. Shiba Inu to the moon, says Drew Catchings. Let's see what this bullshit looks like. All right, let's see. Shib. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Shib on, I guess, Poloniex or whatever the hell. Is it going to the moon or not? Actually, it looks pretty good here. I can't believe I'm, look, I'm just reading the charts, man, but this actually does look good here. At least back up to like, okay, what number is that? Okay, that's a tenth, that's 100th, that's 1,000th, that's a 10,000, 100,000, 1 millionth, 1 millionths of a cent. Am I even doing that right? I don't know. I can't count, man. I'd be looking for it to go back up around here. It actually is okay, but goddamn, if that's like not the biggest blow off shop I've ever seen in my life. Long term, is it going to enter into the dead heartbeat of death? Probably yes, but short term, very likely some upside there. Dane action. Oh, some Danax action today. Definitely, man. Definitely, sir. Shib changed my life. Hey, fair enough, man. I mean, this would be life changing right here. I mean, what is this even looking like? Holy shit. 1,400%, almost 1,500% to the upside. Wow. Very powerful. Very powerful. Dear Lord, man. What's up, Igor? Yeah, man, we're still live, baby. We're still live. I don't have anything better to be doing with my life. I turned 7,500 into 180,000. Nice one, man. Hey, not bad. Hopefully those were realized gains, but that's awesome, man. Fucking nice. Happy for you, sir. Can you take a look at CCIV? Also, do you think SPAC momentum is back? I don't know, man. That's not my game. I can't comment on that accurately. But I can look at this. Okay, and you're looking, oh, you give no time frames. All right, we'll just look at a daily. Yeah, it's putting in some nice lows right here. I don't think it's done going sideways just yet, but sideways in a range for a while between your highs at 27.60 and then probably lows somewhere down around about $20. I'd be looking for it to bake within that range for a while. Weekly says next test to the upside is more likely. Short-term timeframes disagree with that, though. I'd be looking for short-term today to trade back down towards 24.25. I generally think sideways within this one, and you maybe get another test back up here soonish, but I would be looking for that one to be rejected on next pass and then come back down into range. Bake for a while longer. I mean, this one, again, we have a blow off top right here, comes back down. Give it some time, man. It's probably going to take at least a few months before this one's resolved. I mean, this is just this is the crypto chart in traditional land, which is not a good sign. Sure, someone asked for AMP Aussie dollar before, but they meant AMP limited on ASX. Okay. They just don't know that you don't need to include the base parent. Yeah, we can look at this right here. All right, AMP and what time frame? And thank you for that, Nimbo. Thank you for following up on that. Well, this one's rather easy. I'll be looking for this one to come back down 111 or so. Weekly's oh my fucking god, this one's garbage. Jesus Christ, man, you picked the worst chart of the day for sure. Very bad, man. There is nothing redeeming. There are no redeeming qualities about a chart that looks like this long term. This one has no excuse. It's been around since 98 and just goes to the downside. It's not like a fucking inverted it's not like an inverse fund either. Is it trying to put in a bit of a monthly low here? Perhaps yes. Then again, I'm not even so sure about that, man. This one's just dog shit. You avoid shit like this, like the plague, man. There's nothing at all whatsoever good about this thing, even from a daily perspective, as long as it's below 126.5. Even if it took out that level, 140 is the best that it does. This thing is just stay away, man. You don't need to trade bullshit like this. The thing is that, you know, it does seem to pump out of nowhere for a little bit of time. And we actually do have some good signs over here that it is reaching a little bit of a monthly bottom, but a monthly bottom is very likely to just lead to another lower high over time. I mean, this thing is just straight down. I don't have any. I really shouldn't be giving you any targets on something like this because while it probably does actually get another upside move, maybe even back up to like I said about 140, I'd just be looking for more of the same over a long period of time, man. There's no reason to believe that this thing is reversing anytime soon, in my opinion. Would like to see if you think there is more upside short term on SPCE. Okay, SPCE. SPCE. This thing right here. And short term, I'm going to go to a 4 hour. Yeah, it's just freshly breaking out right here. I do think you will see a bit of a pullback around your prior high, just classic move right there. But long term, does this one continue? Yeah, it's pretty sloppy chart, but it is generally up on the long period of time. Weekly's fine. Yeah, short-term pullback, probably long-term continuation. Momentum oscillators on the weekly and higher look like they are bullish here. So yeah, I would say, but you asked about short-term specifically. This thing can come back down. This thing can easily come back down. This thing could easily come back down to like $47, but long-term, I do like it for continuation. So if you're asking about short-term, I actually feel a lot less confident on that. Hourly says more up though. but I don't trust that as much as I do trust the daily, weekly, monthly, and the daily, weekly, monthly are all looking good. Could very easily come with a pullback down to, you know, just below $50, but ultimately I do like further continuation. The weekly is very, very strong right here, very fucking strong, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this one test around the prior all-time high and probably even beyond over time. Let's see. Hey Krown, any insight on AMD on weekly breaking on low volatility? Let's see. Symbol AMD. My least favorite fucking manufacturer. Looking good right here. Is it breaking? There is no break of structure here. It just looks like it wants to test back up towards 89 and a quarter. Yeah, you're looking at a weekly. There is no break structure here, man. So I'm not sure just yet, but it is a long-term uptrend. It is very likely to continue on with that, as it has been for realistically the last 10 years or so, going back to 2010, 2009 or so. Very, very good chart. Does this one try up from here? Yeah, I do think so. Looking very, very good on the daily as well. I'd be looking for this one to test back up towards your range highs, like what is this? Just under $89 or so. Long term, do I think that it reaches prior to mine and beyond? Probably yes. It looks generally very, very good. Hey, what's up? Symbol ME. Hey, Krown, can you take a look at Trios, please? Sure. Is the symbol literally just Trios? I'm gonna guess so. Yes. Oh, it's a crypto. I'm guessing it is. I'm guessing you want to look at this one right here, probably. Wow, very bad, very fucking bad. Is this one gonna get a pity bounce alongside the rest of the market? Look, again, I kind of have to give you a cop-out answer here. Whatever Bitcoin does, this one is going to mirror, of course. Bitcoin moves to the downside. This one's going to aggressively move to the downside, and your next major support is somewhere right around about $3. So this one is certainly relatively weak, but you know, I do kind of favor a general another upside try for Bitcoin here. So does this one try to the upside as well? Yes, but it's this one's weak as fuck, man. $5 would even be difficult. Where's daily? Daily says 5.5, you know, is probably best it does. Yeah, man, weekly is just atrocious, very bad. And this is what the real chart looks like, you know, make no mistake about it. Monthly, I mean, there's not enough history on here, but for the history that we do have, it ain't great. Definitely a weak chart. I mean, this even put in lower highs right now. I do not like this one on its own, no doubt about that. But again, does it get another try up first? 460, maybe medium term if Bitcoin takes out 35 or so. If Bitcoin moves to about $40,000, I'll be looking for this one back around about 550. But this one's fucking weak, man. And you don't need to be in something like this when if you do want to play altcoins, there are altcoins that are actually acting, you know, somewhat well within this consolidation. This is certainly not one of them. This is definitely an example of a relatively weak crypto asset, we'll say. Yeah, crypto asset. There we go. All right, Zishan, Mr. Malik says, hey, Krown, what's up, man? Would you look at one more for me? Sure. REGN. Okay, this is symbol REGN. This one sounds familiar. Yeah, Regeneron, that's it. All right, 4-hour daily weekly. Well, I can tell you weekly looks pretty damn good here. Maybe a short-term pullback right around 556, but I don't know, have we already hit that pullback? No, we haven't. I do think it probably tries for maybe a very short-term pullback here. Make no mistake about it, though. Daily, weekly are very fucking good. Next major areas of interest are going to be, well, I guess more medium-term, right around 570. The next really big one, though, is going to be right here at around just above $600. This is a very good chart, though. Monthly's bullish, weekly's bullish, all higher-term time frames bullish. Very fucking good long-term as well. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this one make new all-time highs maybe at the end of this year or so. Very, 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 very nice chart, sir. Very nice. One of the better ones we have seen. Hey, man, do bake USDT, or you don't need to use all capitals, sir. God damn it. Symbol BAKE. Tether. Holy shit, it's terrible, man. You're wrecked. Look, if Bitcoin bounces here, the best this one does is like 220. This is a garbage chart, though. Absolute fucking garbage. Look, if it has a name of a food, it's probably not good. Except for like the original ones, like maybe sushi. But best this one does on Bitcoin to like, you know, $40,000 is probably like 2.25, maybe 2.5 or so. This is a garbage chart. Absolute fucking garbage. No wonder you're using all capitals, man, because this is an emergency situation. You're wrecked. You're fucking wrecked. I mean, this thing is bad. Real fucking bad, man. Real fucking bad. Again, I do think that Bitcoin has a general short-term upside bias here, so maybe this thing does pop back up to like 220, but goddamn, this is terrible. Very, very bad. Very, 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 very bad. I'd be surprised to see this thing even get back above, 4.5 over a long period of time. I think this one goes for it. The slow bleed of death on any sort of upside moves, you're probably just going to put in lower highs, so I wouldn't be seduced by that, but I don't know. Could I be wrong on that? Of course I always can, and then you're going to hate me, but it barely participates on the upside rallies for Bitcoin. That is not a good sign, man. Very fucking bad. Very, 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 very bad. Let's see. Okay, I think we got Shorty Shrew. What's up, Shorty? Can you look at Link? Yes, we can look at Link. Any hopium? Well, maybe if you want to be bearish. Does it have a short-term upside move here? I do think so, yes. This one can easily pop back up towards, just north of $20, somewhere between 20 and $21 on any sort of Bitcoin rally up into the deeper 40, or sorry, not 40s, but $30,000 territory. Of course, you do have lower highs basically the whole way through, as long as you're below about $25. So that is something to be aware of right here. Did you give any time frames? No, you did not. You got a death cross on the daily coming in. That's not good. You got the weekly, looks absolutely atrocious and showing natural resistance right around $20.69 or so. So, if it does participate with Bitcoin on a bit of an upside rally, I think that's kind of your natural area right there. But hopium on this, your hopium would be for like a very long term, right? Because long term, this one does have a weekly, or maybe not a weekly anymore, but a monthly uptrend. Yeah, we just put in a high right here, but this is a reversal formation, to be fair. Do I think that there's hopium within this one? If I really want to fucking squint my eyes and and make you feel good, yes. But do I think that this one does eventually play out as hopium? No, I don't. This looks like a very obvious reversal to me. We do have monthly bearish divergence also in play here too, and that is just a few days away from being confirmed. And realistically, I'd be looking for this one to come down. Actually, probably somewhere around $10. Maybe makes a long-term stint into the single digits long term. Again, that would probably be accompanied by a short-term Bitcoin move to the upside, and then another rejection. And as Bitcoin comes back down, maybe around mid 30s or so, then I'd be looking for this one to make new lows on this run. But for right now, short-term it has a little bit of upside, to be fair. So if you're on the 4 hour, got a little bit of hopium right there. Maybe back up north of $20 or so. But I keep a keen eye on those areas, and more importantly, a keen eye on Bitcoin. The second that Bitcoin turns around, this thing hasn't really been acting all that well, all things considered. So anywhere around like 20.5 to $21 is kind of where we'd be looking towards. Problems around there though. Doesn't mean that it can't prove itself. This one definitely did have a good long-term history prior to this last meltdown, but the monthly is kind of telling there. So I do have some issues with that. Ban him. Sorry for the caps. Yeah, man. Now we just ignore people who do all caps. Actually, I think it's the best way to do it, man. Because then everyone's going to start to use all caps. If that happens. Didn't the sushi devs exit scam? I don't know. I don't really keep in tabs with the food tokens or really anything that's not like Bitcoin or Ethereum for the most part. Not because I don't think that they can't be legitimate. It's just, it's not my game. So the only time that I really look at them or hear about them is through these streams, actually. Okay, we got Chris B. Thoughts on VeChain, VET, short term. Okay, short term to me means like a 4 hour. So we'll look at it right there. And I also do want to check out the higher term time frames as well. Again, it all hinges down on whatever Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin does give another try to the upside here, I'd be looking for this one like 82 cents or so. Above your 82 cent target, I would start to extend targets actually significantly all the way up just in the low 9 cent region. See what a daily looks like here. Yeah, daily could easily get there on a Bitcoin upside move to like deep $30,000 territory. Let's say 39 to 40,000 bucks. Obviously, you do have a natural downtrend right here. And I would be cognizant of lower highs as long as you're below essentially 10 cents, 11 cents or so. So upside is a bit limited on this one. This one did kind of cough up a lot of its gains. Obviously, weekly is not a good picture, at all. But depending upon how Bitcoin responds here, I'd really base most of it off of that. So let's say Bitcoin does push through the 30,000s into the mid 40,000s, then you probably see this thing back around 12.5 cents or so. It'd still be operating below your last range highs, to be fair, but at least you'd have a little bit of things to look forward to. But unless the Bitcoin really truly pulls through here back above 50,000 bucks, I do think most altcoins are going to go, well, generally down, including this one as well, even though it did have one of the better charts, all things considered, to the upside. But for now, man, best I think it does is maybe back up to like 10.5 cents, and then I'd want to be a little bit conservative and protective around there. And that again is assuming that Bitcoin even moves up to begin with. Let's see. A Lombardi, what's up, man? Morning to you. Morning to you and Elsa. Hey, nice. Sol USDT, Binance Daily Weekly. Okay, let's see. Sol USD Solana. Let's go down Binance, and you're looking at Daily Weekly. Okay, weekly. Acting actually very, very well, all things considered. This is one of the better acting altcoins here, no doubt about that. This would be an example of a relatively strong altcoin. We did put in a higher low on the daily right here in comparison to our last range lows from mid, late May. And we even put in a higher low more recently on the 26th of June right here. So actually a very, very good actor. Any sort of Bitcoin bullishness short term, I'd be looking at a move towards 35 and a quarter. That would just be a short term move. Realistically though, this one does have some obvious range highs right around here, which is $42. I like the rising lows right here. Technically speaking, we do have the etchings of reaccumulation. We do have hidden bullish divergence come off the lows right here. And I look at this as generally a bullish reset for right now. This one also maintaining above its weekly 21 here too. So if Bitcoin does turn around, this is probably one of the better ones to be in my opinion, as it is relatively strong. Short-term time frames, 4 hour, yeah, $35 or so looks good to me. Short-term pullback from there, and then potentially sets it up for a move into the low 40s. Again, alongside Bitcoin, doing more or less the same thing. But this one is definitely one of the better acting ones. Absolutely, absolutely, man. So nice one, very nice one. Actually, you asked about daily, weekly. Yeah, I think we got both of those actually. Pretty damn good. All right, let's see. We got Chimera. What's up, Chimera? Morning to you, sir. Can we please check Bitcoin yearly candles? Candles, I don't know what the fuck that is, but would also like to get a look at DOT daily, weekly, if you get the chance. Let's do one. Well, I guess we can do that really, really fast because there's really not much to look at on the yearly, to be fair. But here we go. We'll do a 12-month time frame right here. That's a pretty nasty looking one right there. We're going to get our first our first yearly pullback. That's a real chart, by the way. That's goddamn, that is fucking ridiculous looking. Holy shit. Holy shit, man. Holy shit. That is incredible. That is so incredible on a linear scale. There's not much to make on that chart, to be honest with you. I mean, we can go to BLX index and maybe get another, a couple dildos right there, but it's still not very useful, to be honest. DOT, okay, DOT daily, weekly. Let's see what this one's got. Now I'm going to have one yearly dildo. Is it? Yeah, it's not. Of course. Okay, daily, weekly. Let's see. Another example of a relatively weak one, actually. Short term to the upside, short term to the upside about $16, 16 and some odd change, maybe 16 and a quarter. Again, a relatively weak one. So if Bitcoin were to get going to the deeper $30,000 territory, I think best this one does is like $19. I'm not really enamored by a chart that looks like this, especially as long as you're below this level right here at about, oh Jesus Christ, we don't need all of these. We just need one. There you go. That's the one trend line to rule them all. 28.67 or so. Let's just call it 28 and a half. As long as you're below there, kind of hard chart to love long term. Just looks like distribution plus redistribution plus markdown. Don't like it, man. But on a short term upside move for Bitcoin, does this one participate a little bit? I mean, hopefully a little bit. Bitcoin to 36.5, I'd probably be looking for this one at like 16 and a few cents. Bitcoin to mid 40s, I'd probably be looking at this one somewhere right around like 19, maybe $20 if it's lucky. As long as it's below 28 and a half, I look at this one as just a piece of dog shit, actually, long term. So sorry, I'm just talking specifically about charts here, not about people, but very hard chart to love, man. Very, very hard chart to love. Weekly, just even worse on the weekly. Nothing good to say about this chart as long as it's below, you could just say the 21 at this point. About $24 or so. There's nothing that I like about it at all whatsoever. No redeeming qualities about it as long as you're below there. That means you could rally up all the way to that level. I mean, that's almost a 2x from here. It's literally a 2x from here. And I'd still be looking at this as, okay, this is probably a good place to sell, actually. Above there, yeah, you can probably get bullish, but you're going to know that that's already happening with Bitcoin probably getting back above like $50,000 if that were to happen. So as long as Bitcoin is below 50, you kind of have to play everything, in my opinion, defensively, as the market is kind of tethered to it, more or less. All right, cool. Hey, what's up, Derek M? There he is. Has the eagle landed? The eagle has not landed just yet, but we did have a lot of postal holidays recently, so so hopefully soon, sir. Hopefully soon. ME says, how about QNT? Yeah, this one's quant, right? This one's had some very interesting action as well. Not sure if it's mirroring any coin. Yeah, it seems to be kind of on its own from last I remember. Yeah, definitely. Very interesting chart right here. A very, very interesting chart, actually. As we do see it consistently just going up. And all things considered, even when Bitcoin was having its downside displeasures in like late May, this one barely followed. And ever since then, it just put in a higher low. I mean, very, very powerful chart. Probably the best chart in cryptocurrency land. This one and Hex are probably like neck and neck with each other. Do I think this one moves up from here? Let's go back down to the daily. It's kind of hard to get for me because this one is pretty sloppy as far as all these wicks go, but I would generally be bullish on this one. I don't think it doesn't seem like it really has much relationship to Bitcoin, but monthly is obviously bullish. I'm going to run with a monthly here. You have a natural base down around low $60 territory, and long term, I'd just generally be bullish on this until we get something that's obvious as a as a reversal. For the daily right now, do we have that? No, I'd be expecting to see like some sort of bearish divergence. I mean, we actually kind of had some right there, but that's probably already played out. This one still looks like it's got some upside. So fair enough. Yeah, man. I'd mostly be looking at the monthly here. This is the obvious chart. As long as you're above about $65, I am long-term bullish. I don't have any targets to give you. I mean, this one's literally in price discovery, and this one can get even more ridiculous here. But at some point, you know how the story goes. At some point, the inevitable will happen. But for now, respect the trend, and this one definitely is deserved of a lot of respect here. I mean, this is a very, very good chart, very fucking good chart over a long period of time. If you're looking at, okay, so Blake says short term. We can look at it versus short term. Yeah, short term looks like it's already put in a base right here, another higher low. I'd be looking for it short term to pop back up north of $90 or so. It looks good. It looks very good. One of the better charts we've seen today, for sure, in cryptocurrency land. Mr. NFT, Mr. NFT. Oh, nice one. Wyckoff. Do you mean Wyckoff? Just had a spring in accumulation or redistribution. I think that we're not really looking at either right now. I do think that Bitcoin has a generally short-term bullish bias here. But would I call this Wyckoff accumulation? No, I wouldn't, because what we'd expect to see on a Wyckoff accumulation is not to test back down around the spring. You don't want to come back down and literally retest your lows. Now, this is where I kind of differ with other people from Wyckoff. I don't look at Wyckoff in like the exact way that that it's supposed to be looked at, or does that make sense? Like, I think that you can have some variations on it, because I've certainly seen a lot of lows and a lot of highs that don't necessarily fit the bill, but they obviously do work out. And I think it's about the general principles of Wyckoff that are powerful, rather than like it needs to follow the schematic exactly. So in my opinion, as long as Bitcoin is doing something like this, where you have like this rounded oh shit, it's on this chart. We have this rounded bottom. I think I have it right here. Yeah, represented by this red ellipses. I do look at that as a signal of accumulation. Now, I do think that if we do move up from here, I would not call this a macro accumulation. I would just call this, basically a daily accumulation. And that can easily get a move into the deep $40,000 territory, no problem. That would be verified by a closure on a daily above about $39,000, or taking out the last major high that we had within this range, which was 41,350 or so from the 15th of June. If one of those two things happens, yes, I would look for this one to get marked up a bit, somewhere around, maybe around $47,000, give or take a few. Is this redistribution right here? You could have made the argument that this was redistribution up until the 23rd and 24th of June. I think it's neither right now, or at least if you are going by the textbook definition, it's neither. Now, someone brought up a good point the other day that I wasn't looking at volume signatures on this. That is true. I wasn't looking at it because, it's pretty fucking obvious, to be honest with you, not to be a dickhead about it. But look, if we throw in the volume profile, this is actually not what you want to see as far as the volume profile of accumulation goes. You want to see the thicker nodes down at the bottom, not in the midline of this. Now, this is why I do think that you can look at Wyckoff as like a general guideline. It doesn't necessarily need to be followed like one to fucking one, because I think that's just confusing and doesn't really offer up all that much. But it would also suggest that above about $37,000, you could probably look at that as an initial warning signal that we very likely will make our way into the $40,000 territory, like the deeper $40,000 territory, that is. Again, that is a little bit lower than the resolution points that I have myself as far as price action goes, but would I use that myself? Probably not, but I do think that it is relevant to talk about for the more aggressive traders. They will look at that as an entry if we can get back above the point of control here. But for right now, I think it's actually neither. If you're going by textbook definition, if you're going by the way that I look at things, then I think that this is more in line with accumulation as it stands right now. And you can look at that essentially as long as Bitcoin's closing dailies above, let's just call it $31,000, even though technically it's a few bucks lower than that. Okay, cool. We already looked at KSM, sir. We already looked at KSM. I need to hear an Elsa tee-hee. Do you want to hear a tee-hee in the background right there? We need our Elsa fix. Would you like to say some things on the microphone, sir? She says, no, you called me hyena, and now she will not speak ever again. So there you go. You reap what you sow, sirs and sirs. Let's see. How deep into the stream are we now? We're about 2 hours into the stream. I think this might be a good... Uh-oh. Where is she? Okay, she's coming in hot. Okay, well, thank you for that very highly intelligent and quality comment, sir. Thoughts on Proto Labs? Never heard of it in my life. I need tickers, not theories. Krown, when do you say small pullback? How do you determine the move, for example, from the 36.5 level? Well, I'm just looking at this area right here. I mean, not only is it kind of in line with what we saw in the volume profile, as you can see, but it's also in line with the last sort of breakdown that we saw from the 19th, or 18th, 19th, and 20th of June. So I like this area. That's why I do like a little bit of a pullback from there. You'll see, naturally speaking, that the 200 exponential moving average is going to be coming in line with the top side of that at about 36.5 soon enough too. So natural resistance right around there for a short-term move, and I would be looking at that one to pull back somewhere down around maybe like maybe even to where we're at right now, 34.5 to 35,000 bucks. I don't have a strong opinion on that. My strong opinion is on any sort of a closure above this little swing high right here, 35,000 bucks. I'm looking for that pullback to essentially be bought back on up, and we will, and very likely Bitcoin makes its way into the deeper 30s, somewhere around 39,000 bucks, which could potentially set it up for a move higher over time, which personally speaking, I do think is actually rather likely to happen, but that is not something that I think is like an executable trade just yet. So fair enough. All right, we'll do one last one for Ethan Hicks, XDC, symbol XDC, and then we'll wrap this bitch up and send her off. XDC right here. Let's see. Pretty good, actually. Very, very good. Is this a crypto? It is a crypto. What the fuck? This is good. This is very good, man. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards 7.5 cents. Very, very nice. And that's just short term, man. I actually think this one's going to take that level out and eventually move its way back up towards the 9 to 10 cent region. This is actually one of the better charts we've seen today. This one, Hex, and what was the other one? The one that we just looked at, was it Quant? I think it was Quant, something like that. Yeah, very good chart actually over a long period of time. This one goes all the way back to 2018. Definitely proven itself, and yeah, I generally like it over a long period of time. Short term, same thing. Yeah, I'd be looking forward to March back up to like just somewhere around 7.5 cent or so. And I want to see a little bit of a short term pullback, set it up for maybe a continuation up a little bit later. Donnie Bowling has retracted his message, but why? Why have you done this? Why have you done this, sir? Why? Oh, yeah, man, it's contagious, man. I apologize for that. It's gonna make a lot of very awkward social situations. But I live in Finland, man, so there's no such social situations anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. Perhaps you do not, though. At which point you're fucked, sir. You're very much fucked. All right. Okay. All right. I think it's time for me to actually let's read this comment right here. Yeah, go ahead.
Best of the best and the happiest of the happiest.
Wow, that was a very powerful comment right there, sir. Let's see what Abraham says. Abraham Lennon says, Krown, can you do me a favor and have a wonderful day? Actually, I would love to do that, sir. I'd love to do that, man. Okay, cool. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. Short-term time frames, is Bitcoin put in a base right here before moving higher? It looks like so, yes. I don't have a super strong opinion on the short term. If I'm looking at the hourly, could very easily pop back down just below 34,000 bucks. But ultimately, here's what I do feel a lot more confident on. As long as Bitcoin is closing hourly dildos above about 33,300, I do like the short-term continuation with the $35,000 pivot as the next one for preferably like a 4-hour closure. Or if we do just take out the 25th of June high right here, I would look for a very short-term continuation to about 36.5 right here, accompanied by a short-term pullback, and then very likely a medium-term continuation to the top side of the range, somewhere around 39,000 bucks. Can that lead to continuation into the deeper 40s? Yes, but I'd want to see first a pullback from there, and then I want to see like a daily closure above 39,000 bucks, and then yes, we can start to talk about targets into the mid, maybe even deep $40,000 territory. However, I do seriously express a lot of concern around that region. I don't think that Bitcoin's ready to like trend back up to new all-time highs or anything like that anytime soon. I think best that Bitcoin does to the upside, even if like all of those assumptions even happen to begin with, would be like 50,000 bucks, probably a bull trap right around there. And then we get to play the game of, okay, is Bitcoin going to come back down and set in a higher low? Are we going to get that hash ribbons buy signal? Are we going to get the signature that we look at in the BBWP? If that happens, then we can start to talk about a macro low in place. And still, I do think that this is going to take, probably another couple months or, month and a half to 2 months from here if this is going to end up being bullish. The best thing for the BULOS here is sideways in a range between 30 and mid 40s for the majority, if not all of summer, going all the way out to like September or so. Again, I drew this little ellipses in here as soon as Bitcoin actually got in this range on the 20th of May. And funnily enough, it actually is still working. So fair enough on that. I want you now, wish you the best and the happiest. Once again, take care and hopefully see you soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype